in wages and stronger benefits. The most recent SEC filings show all of the big three CEOs earned more than $20 million last year, with GM CEO Mary Barra topping the list at $29 million. The three CEOs earned around 300 times what the average employee earns, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Stellantis temporarily laid off 68 employees in Ohio and is expected to furlough another 300 in Indiana because of the strike. The Utah Jazz will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the franchise this season by wearing retro jerseys for select games. Those jerseys, the same one that the New Orleans Jazz wore back in 1974. The Jazz will also have a retro court to go along with the jerseys. Your money at this moment, tough day. After a tough week last week, we've got more down numbers today, red numbers in the Dow. We're off 226 points. That's closing in on 0.7. The S&P is down almost a full percentage point, off 41, and the NASDAQ is down over a full percentage point. It's off 142 this hour. Not much to talk about in the weather, and that's good news. Sunny and warm, but we'll check it next. KSL News Time, 9:02. What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Everybody knows Cache Valley has the happiest cows in the universe, and we're ready to celebrate. Round up your herd and head to Logan, Utah for the 3rd annual free Cache Valley Cheese and Dairy Festival, September 29th and 30th. Free samples, live music, and food trucks. Workshops where you can learn how to fine-tune your taste buds for gourmet cheese tasting, make an eye-popping charcuterie board, or identify the subtle essences in dark chocolate from around the world. You can even learn to make your own marvelous mozzarella at home. Wait, I want to tell you about something totally awesome. You can watch an authentic cheesemonger crack open a 75-pound wheel of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. That's 131 gallons of milk aged over 730 days for Parmesan perfection. You can even blow a giant Swiss Alpenhorn or practice your yodeling. Well, maybe don't do that part. Loosen your belt for a delicious cheesy Dutch oven dinner and entertainment on Saturday night. Buy your dinner tickets online and in advance. Amazing! Get moving! CacheCheeseFest.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Andy's back in the traffic center.
Some slow spots remain, including some extra travel time I-15 between 31st Street and Ogden and Riverdale from some road work. Then you've got slowdowns almost gone, but just a little bit of heavy traffic left North Salt Lake. Northbound 15, Draper still backed up near the Bluffdale exit, and then you've got slowdowns between 7200 45th, 33rd, all those exits is where traffic is most likely to come to a stop. Foothill still surprisingly busy from 1700 South all the way up to Sunnyside. Is your car due for some extra love? Burt Brothers is here for your vehicle's routine maintenance, all done by their ASE certified technicians. Burt Brothers, affordable, complete auto care done better. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm and sunny today, a high of 85. We'll get to repeat that again tomorrow. Pretty much the same on Thursday, although it will be just a little bit cooler. And those temperatures are going to keep headed that direction, rolling into Saturday night and Sunday with a chance of precipitation. Our overnight lows will actually switch to being our highs on Sunday, Monday next week. Right now it's 68 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Oh, President Biden's heading to Michigan. Dave and I are sitting here watching the national news monitors here in the studio at Broadcast House, and it sounds like it's happening soon, that the White House finally made the decision to send President Biden to walk the picket line with the United Auto Workers.
They didn't want to rush into anything. It kind of came together at the last minute. But did he just choose a side? It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
He chose the United Auto Workers, the ones who are walking the picket line. Although I was looking at the picket line, it didn't look too robust this morning. We'll see if more people show up to picket when the president arrives in Detroit. He's there to show, or he will be there to show solidarity with the striking auto workers.
I think the UAW gave up an incredible amount back when the automobile industry was going under. They give everything from the pensions on, and they saved the automobile industry.
What? What did he say? I could hardly hear him. Well, it turns out Team Biden couldn't quite figure out where, how, or even if the president should join the march. There was some last-minute behind-the-scenes finagling on this one, leading to mass confusion on the part of the White House. That's all according to CNN, but I love that angle of the story.
I mean, outside looking in, he was not showing up to Michigan. It's been 12 days. He hasn't shown up once. It seemed like he kind of wanted to stay back, let them do their own negotiations. And then President Trump, former President Trump, says, I'm coming to Michigan on Wednesday. And Biden's like, I'll be there Tuesday. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Countdown. 2.
Student loan repayments resume in just a few days. I didn't realize we were already more than halfway through 2023. Wow, time's really flying. President Biden's plan to forgive hundreds of billions of dollars in student loan debt. Well, we know that crashed and burned. It failed at the hands of the Supreme Court. Now Senator Mitt Romney wants to offer up an alternative to student loan forgiveness. And so far, I'm unimpressed with this plan.
Somebody always has to pay for the plan, right? I mean, that's the tricky part. Is his plan. I think you're going to warm up to it a little bit,
You are.
Deb.
You're going to have to really sell this one hard for me.
Well, I'm not entirely certain I'm sold on it, but
Okay.
there's a little wrinkle on it that is a savings plan, a little like 401k-ish, so for every dollar you save, they match.
But it's like 800% return on investment with this plan.
Which means it's the greatest investment strategy in the world.
Launch. Countdown. 1.
The Desert News headline really captivated us this morning when we were reading it online. And so we're going to talk about it right now, as did Utah's Morning News. 8 Utah school districts are paying licensed first-year teachers $60,000 a year annually. That's a salary that one principal calls a game changer. I think $60,000 a year annually for starting teacher pay in Utah, it sounds really shiny. Yeah. But I want to throw some dirt on it and start looking at other costs of living in Utah that I think will soon eat away at that 60 grand a year.
Yeah, living in Utah is expensive. And in the last couple of years, prices for everything have skyrocketed. We're paying a premium for gasoline and groceries. The housing market has exploded. New car, used car, it doesn't matter. It all is expensive. But what do we do about it? Do we just keep raising salaries? And I'm not sure that the solution is to say, well, teachers, we're going to pay you $100,000 starting salary so you can afford a home.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
The Desert News does a really great job with this story because they tell it through the eyes of a new fifth grade school teacher here in Utah. And she moved from Iowa, and she chose to start her career in the Canyon School District. And her starting pay is $60,000 a year. When I heard that, I was like, wow, good for Maggie. That's the name of the teacher. Good for Maggie, $60K a year. That's amazing. And then I started to think about it.
Okay. It's 60,000. Does it really go as far as it once did? I was looking on ZipRecruiter, who kind of tracks salaries, and the average median starting wage in Utah is $48,000.
For anybody.
That's the annual average salary. That's not the starting salary. Let me correct there. So if the average is $48,000 and teachers are getting $60,000, that seems like fantastic news.
There's this twist to Maggie's teaching journey to Utah. Of course, I said she's from Iowa. Her annual starting pay, this is all in the Desert News, by the way, would have been about $35 to $40K a year in Iowa.
Okay.
And the D News says that rent prices in Iowa to rent an apartment or whatever are about the same as they are in Salt Lake County. But obviously that's a huge difference. 35. Let's say she would have started at the low end at $35K a year, and she comes to Utah. Well, she's making $60K a year.
Yeah, that you would absolutely move. That is a huge increase.
But to me, this is where I started overthinking this. Sorry, Maggie. I think your $60,000 a year salary is well-deserved, but I don't think this is all rosy. And $60,000 is considered a living wage in Utah. But there's a flip side to this. And you and I learned this last week from the Utah Taxpayers Association, which is a taxpayer watchdog group. They keep track of how many, what we pay in taxes every year in Utah between property tax and state income tax, sales tax. They add it all up, and they came to us and said, Utahns pay an additional $5,000 a year just in taxes compared to surrounding states. So to me, I was like, okay, well, let's lop $5,000 a year annually off of Maggie's $60,000 a year salary. So now we're down to $55,000. And then I think you have to take an honest look at housing prices if you're moving to Utah. Now, if you want to stay in Utah because you have family here, I think that may be a different scenario. But if you're moving to Utah, you don't have family here to stay with or live with. And I compared it to Des Moines, Iowa. And for the prices to buy a home, not rent one, because I personally don't want teachers being forever renters. I want them to set roots and live and own in the community where they teach. In Iowa, Maggie could have bought in Des Moines about a newer home for about $300,000. Well, here it's $525,000. And if she wants just a quaint downtown condo in Des Moines, it's about $170K to buy it. You double that here, you'll be lucky to find something in Salt Lake City for $360K. That's a big difference.
Whether you're living in Des Moines, Iowa, or you're living in Salt Lake City or Roy, you cannot afford a home on $60,000 a year. You can't make it on $35,000. You can't make it on $60,000. It's over $100,000. That's the calculations are you have to make over $100,000 a year. So either you have to have a job that pays you $100,000 a year, or it's a two-income scenario. And I'm not sure you can solve that, and you're certainly not going to solve it with a some starting pay.
I feel like housing prices here could be a huge setback for this $60,000 a year. Rah, 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 rah. This is what we're bringing teachers to Utah on. And it's a great recruiting tool. The number sounds amazing, and it is awesome. I have no problem with paying teachers more. You're so important in the lives of our kids, and we count on you every day. But let's ask the question, does it just stop at $60K? Or do folks who lobby on behalf of higher teacher salaries, are they looking at raising that starting pay even more next?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
This weekend, take a needed break. Relax and refresh with the 193rd Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. KSL's coverage begins Saturday morning at 9:30 with live sessions all weekend. We have you covered at 102.7 FM or on the app for KSL News Radio.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Clark Ivory with Ivory Homes. 2023 is turning out to be a great year for Ivory home buyers. Let me tell you why. The number of existing homes for sale is way down, so with fewer used homes to choose from, new home sales have soared. At Ivory Homes, we are creating all kinds of possibilities for you. A great selection of new homes ready for move-in, and fixed interest rates as low as 5.875%, saving you hundreds on your monthly payment. Check out Ivory Homes today.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free info kit. 800-961-5544. 800-961-5544.
I'm Erin Mendenhall. I'm a mom, an air quality advocate, and the mayor of Salt Lake City. This is an exciting time for Salt Lake City, and we need to keep our city moving forward. Affordable housing is up, way up, and crime is down. I've worked hard to make our city safer. We're putting more officers on the street, reducing response times, improving training, and we've partnered with the feds to take violent repeat offenders off our streets. We're working on sustainable solutions to homelessness, and for the first time in a long time, we are not doing it alone. We're building unprecedented amounts of housing for our unsheltered neighbors. I've worked hard to earn real results for our city and to rebuild the burned bridges of our past. We've been tested in crisis after crisis, and we've shown our toughness and our grace. I'm determined to keep our city moving forward, and I won't let anyone take us back. Paid for by Erin Mendenhall for Salt Lake City.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the founder of a Lehigh-based human trafficking nonprofit group will appear in court this morning, facing allegations of fraud and misusing funds. Second, a Utah teenager is dead after an ATV rollover near Vernal yesterday. And third, the U.S. military says poor math scores in schools around the country is a threat to our national security. We're going to look for a high today of 85 degrees, and it's starting to warm up now, 68 in Salt Lake City. Now back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Deseret News reports that 8 school districts in Utah are now paying new teachers $60,000 a year to start. So we're about to find out if $60K is here to stay. We're going to level off at that, or if teachers will be looking at bigger starting pays in the near future.
If you're a newbie teacher, you are loving life right now because starting pay has skyrocketed over just the last couple of years. What I have seen, though, and what I've heard from teachers that have been in the business for a minute, I talked to a 20-year teacher, and she said, I've been teaching for almost 20 years, and I'm only making about $10,000 more than the newbies that are coming in right now. She's like, that is incredible. Now, in her 20 years, she was hired on at, I think, $28,000 or $32,000 a year. So 70 seems incredible for her, but she can't help but compare to what the new teachers are getting and how there's not much of a gap from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, that's a brand new teacher, to a 20-year vet.
I think you got a great point. And I'm surprised that you didn't pick up on the fact that I began a conversation about teachers with a big old grammatical error. So let's talk about these starting salaries for teachers with Jason Brown. He's the Vice President of Education for Envision Utah. And your organization has worked extensively to get this pays up higher for teachers. $60K a year is great. But when I look at, for example, just the taxes that Utahns pay in addition to compared to what other states are paying in taxes, what other residents of states are, it's like $5,000 a year more just in taxes in Utah. And then also the home prices here in Utah. If teachers want to move here, get a new job here and stay here and buy a home, it's just double compared to some of what, the costs are in other states, Jason. So does it stay at $60K or does it need to go higher than $60K?
The short answer is it probably will need to go higher than $60K as a starting salary. That answer came from a few years ago where we worked with a group of leaders from the legislature and the governor's office and the education and business communities, and we tried to answer a really simple economics question, which was, what does compensation need to look like to get over Utah's teacher shortage, to bring more teachers into the profession and keep them around long term? And in 2019, we said starting pay needs to be at about $60,000. We revised that a little bit this year in recognition that things are different now than they were in 2019. And we said 60K to 70 is probably the starting range that we'll ultimately need to get to pretty soon here to make the profession really attractive and competitive. And then we do need to look at end of career salaries as well and make sure that there's a steep and competitive compensation curve long term. But we are starting to change what it means to be a teacher here in Utah. And I think that's something that we should celebrate and be proud of.
So I guess the question I would have, has it worked? Because if you look back in 2019 when teachers' starting salaries were maybe even in the mid to low 40s, and then 4 years later they're at $60,000, I don't think anybody expected that to actually happen so quickly within 4 years. Have we seen people moving into the profession and closing some of that teacher shortage?
Well, have probably two answers to this. The first is we don't expect that even if we could flip the switch overnight and change all the salaries to where we think they really need to be, we don't expect that that month or that year even we would see an influx of the new teachers, because it takes a few years to get the training you need to become a teacher. So there's going to be a little bit of a delay there. But then the other answer to the question, which is probably more what you're asking, is I think we are seeing the progress that we've made paying off. I mean, think of how difficult being a teacher has been the last few years. The fact that our shortage hasn't gotten substantially worse when there's so much difficulty and challenge around teaching with COVID, and there was remote learning and all those other things. The fact that our shortage has stayed relatively level, I think, is thanks to the fact that we've started to make some real gains in what it means to be a teacher in terms of compensation.
We're speaking live in studio to Jason Brown. He's the Vice President of Education for Envision Utah. It's an organization that has worked for better pay for teachers. On the heels of the Deseret News article that revealed that there are 8 Utah school districts starting new teachers at $60,000 a year. So I had to remind myself and did a little Googling this morning as to how many school districts are in Utah. And if there are 42. So I want to say only 8? Only 8 are at $60,000 a year, Jason? I mean, what do other school districts need to do to compete with that?
Well, we have 8 that are at or above 60,000, and then we have a good handful that are right around there, that are right on the cusp of 60,000, which is
yes.
a big improvement from.
I saw the Granite School District and the Jordan School District are like 58,000. So
right.
to your point,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But if we look at where we were in 2018, 2019, I think the median teacher salary was somewhere in the 50,000s, and we're talking now starting salaries for teachers being at a much more attractive and a much more competitive and rewarding place. And we're not done. There's absolutely room to go. I think we've got to get all the districts up to that $60,000 to $70,000 starting range, and then we really do. To Dave's point, we need to look at end of career salaries. We need to make sure that it's a rewarding profession throughout the teacher's career, so that when students are thinking about what they want to do when they grow up, they don't rule out teaching because they know that it's not going to pay well. We want to take the negative aspects of pay out of the equation so that teachers or so that young people might consider teaching more seriously.
One thing that we probably need to point out is veteran teachers have a better benefits package than new teachers. Is that a fair assessment?
That is. That we do have some inequities, I guess, between teachers in terms of their retirement benefits. We made some big changes to help stabilize the retirement system in about 2010, 2011. And the idea at the time was we're going to make it up for new teachers with compensation, but that didn't really happen. So there is this sort of imbalance between our real veteran teachers and teachers who have been in the profession a little bit less time.
Jason Brown, thank you for joining us from Envision Utah, is the Vice President of Education there. Thanks.
Jason, if you've got a few moments, we're going to take live phone calls from our listeners. You are welcome to stick around in studio or tune in your car if you have to take off, but we do appreciate you being here live. It's always nice to see you. Is $60,000 your price point? Is that enough to lure you into a lifetime of teaching? We're going to take live phone calls. 801-575-TALK. Dave's wanting to say something here. Go ahead.
I'll tell you this. It was a game changer in my family. My wife just this year decided to go back to school.
Wow.
She's been working in elementary schools for the past 7 years. But it was so tempting. You look at that starting salary, $60,000,
nice.
and she made the decision to go back to school. And she's enrolled. She starts on Monday. It's kind of wild. But, yeah, you ask, is $60,000 a game changer? It absolutely was in our family.
Okay, so is that the price point for our listeners? Would you become a teacher knowing that you would be paid $60,000 a year? 801-575-TALK. We'll take your live calls next.
KSL News Time 9:30. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's look at some of our top stories this half hour. A government shutdown could happen this weekend if members of Congress can't reach an agreement. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is fighting against a handful of GOP holdouts who haven't been budging until spending gets slashed. Janie Ray Wern is visiting Washington, D.C. from Minnesota while this is happening and says a shutdown wouldn't be good for anyone.
We wouldn't be allowed to do that in any of our jobs. You go in, you have a job to do, and you do it. And if that's what they're hired to do, why aren't they doing their jobs? We're paying them to do it.
The government will shut down on October 1st unless lawmakers do reach a deal. Utah Senator Mike Lee, meantime, says he thinks a government shutdown is avoidable. He tells Fox News he's in favor of funding the government for a few weeks to give them time to properly fund each government entity.
Fund one part of government after the other, one at a time, until it's all done.
He also had this to say regarding a shutdown and the impeachment inquiry into President Biden.
I am aware of no reason, Maria, why that inquiry could not continue, even if the government were to shut down temporarily.
Lee says he thinks the allegations are serious and should be investigated, shut down or not. The Shimano company is recalling bike cranksets after thousands of reports of injuries. The company says the crankset can separate and break, causing riders to crash. The recall involves cranksets made before 2019 and those sold on Trek or Specialized bikes between the years of 2012 and 2023. If you think your crankset might be involved, you should stop using your bike and contact the dealer for a free inspection. Your money at this moment, we're having a tough day. All of the indexes are down over a full percentage point. The Dow just reached that mark. It's off 345 points. The S&P is down 1 1/3 here, off 55. And the NASDAQ down also 1.3% with a loss of 174 points. Coming up, sunny skies, highs in the 80s today. We'll check your full forecast coming up next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky if we could get a video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, and internet that can power a house full of devices at once with ultra-low lag. So while one person streams a movie from their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now through December 21st. New customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary. The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
Traffic and weather together, again brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Heather Kelly's in the traffic center.
And we still have delays down in Utah County. This is on northbound I-15 between 1600 North and Orem to just before the Pleasant Grove exit. It's due to a multi-vehicle crash. All the vehicles are over on the right shoulder, but one of them is facing backwards way over into the grass. So that's really causing people to take a second look. Once you get past it all, though, you've got that good speeds all the way into downtown Salt Lake. No other delays southbound I-15 in Davis and Weber counties. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing exceptional service from 4 dealers: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See performancebountiful.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have sunny skies, a high of 85 degrees on tap today. Similar conditions tomorrow and Thursday, but colder conditions with afternoon thunder showers coming throughout the weekend. You'd think it was conference weekend or something around here. Right now, it's beautiful out there, and we finally reached the 70-degree mark at KSL News Radio. 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
We're glad that Jason Brown with Envision Utah is sticking around in studio with us to take your live phone calls. And if you have questions for him, please, 801-575-TALK. Envision Utah has been really instrumental in pushing for, and I don't want to say lobbying. Are you lobbyists?
We don't
technically?
lobby.
Yeah, you don't lobby, but I'll say pushing for these higher teacher salaries, or starting pay is now for 8 different districts across Utah, $60K a year.
And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. When you went into this, you were going to try to figure out, what can we do to get teachers into Utah, so to speak? What's it going to take to entice teachers, whether it's new teachers, college kids going into the profession, or bring others? And ultimately, you landed on, pay. Now, unsurprisingly, you probably knew the answer before you even looked into it. But specifically, I think you were looking for, what is the number? What's the number to get people here? What was the number? Remind us, back in 2018, 2019, when you were doing all this research, what number did you land on?
We landed at $60,000 as starting pay, and then end of career, we wanted it to be north of around $110,000.
By the time they wrap up their career, 30 years?
Yeah, 30 to 35 years.
Okay.
Yep.
801-575-TALK is the phone number to call. Amy, you've been waiting on the line so patiently. Good morning.
Huge fan of the show. So.
Oh, thanks, Amy. We're a huge fan of you. So, Amy, it says here, our producer put a note in, you live in the Utah County area, and your husband is a teacher. So, tell us about your journey.
Yes. So, my husband has been teaching. This is his 20th year. He teaches junior high. God bless him, right? And his starting salary was $29,000 a year. And it forced me to have to work outside the home, and I didn't ever want to do that. I personally made the choice. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I didn't have that choice with that salary. And so I am so grateful for Jason and all the other advocates that have lobbied to do this change, because it gives people more options. I am a little bitter. I will say that. You can call me bitter, Amy, in American Fork. That my husband is his 20th year and makes just about $10,000 over that, which, again, we're grateful for. But, I really think this change is huge, and it could help with retention as well, because being a teacher is just so emotionally exhausting that it's hard to stay in it long term. And my husband has seen this, and I've seen this too. And so thank you again for all who have been involved in making this change.
Amy, thanks for your phone call and sharing so much of your story with us. Jason, Amy brings up a couple of great points. One is, teacher starting pay, maybe at $60,000, fingers crossed, maybe it means that a significant other doesn't have to take on a full-time career. I don't know for sure. I don't know how those numbers work within a family budget, but that retention component too is you can get them in at $60K, But my goodness, if the money doesn't increase, are they going to stick around?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We have some work to do. 60K is a great spot to start, but we need to change the trajectory long term. I mean, we need to change overall what it means to be a teacher. We want people to look at it and say, this is a great, prestigious career, and I'm going to be able to take care of a family if I go into teaching. So I understand exactly what Amy's talking about. And Amy, thanks for your kind words, and thanks to your husband for being a middle school teacher. But you're absolutely right. We need to make sure that the whole career trajectory is still attractive and competitive and rewarding for teachers.
So when we talk about starting pay and then ending pay, is that with the assumption that you're not going back to school to get a master's degree or a doctorate? Is that just for the number of years and experience that you have, that natural growth will get up to over 100,000?
You know, we don't really want to get too into the weeds of you have to have these degrees to hit the max starting pay. Yeah. We'll leave that to the districts to figure out what's best and what's going to make the teachers as effective as possible. And so we just kind of put it as a ballpark range that you need to have an end of career salary that still is attractive and competitive and rewarding.
We're talking about the school districts, 8 school districts in Utah where teachers can start at $60,000 or more a year. A lot of school districts also start just under that $60,000 year annual salary mark. And taking your live calls. By the way, Jason Brown from Envision Utah, it's an organization that's really pushed for higher teacher starting pay, is in studio with Dave and I this morning. And Bill, you're up next.
Hi, thanks for taking the call.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sympathetic to the teachers as well. I think they play an important role in our society. You look at the role they play in Asia in the lives of those kids, and it's much more involved than what our teachers are here. And I think teachers are worth more, but I do think as well, teachers didn't enter their career blindly. They knew that, hey, this isn't the highest paying job. So there's that. But I think as well, if we're going to pay them more, which I'm an advocate for, we need to be able to measure results and see, by paying these people more, are we getting better results in the classroom? And, the unions are really hesitant to put some kind of, to try to objectively measure results and things like that. And, really the unions are all for paying the teachers more, and they talk about how they're concerned about the students, but the students aren't paying dues to the unions. And really the unions are paying lip service to the students. It's all about, they just want to get the teachers more money and not have any increased accountability. But as a taxpayer who's paying the salary of a teacher, I want to say, hey, I want to make sure I'm getting what I'm paying for, and see better results in the classroom, and not see the curriculum year after year after year dumbed down, so to speak, where we see in some school districts across the country, 25% of the kids reading at grade level, 30% of the kids performing at grade level in math. We can't.
And we've seen those numbers play out.
Not expect results.
Yeah, Bill, thank you for the phone call. And we've seen similar numbers here in Utah when we're looking at proficiency. In part, I understand the practicality of having a starting salary where you say, hey, you can expect when you graduate from college, this is generally what you're going to be paid. The problem I do have with the way we pay our teachers right now, and it is the way it's been negotiated, is it doesn't necessarily differentiate between a rock star, unbelievable teacher and somebody that is pretty mediocre or even downright bad. It depends on how many years you've worked, what your education system is, and that is a flaw in the system.
I really want to leave this on a positive note, because this is how we started this conversation with Jason Brown with Envision Utah. Thank you so much for being in the house with us today, Jason. And that is, it does appear at this point that the $60,000 starting salary for new teachers is working to recruit new teachers to the profession. Do you agree? You agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah. We seem to be bringing teachers into the profession. With all the challenges over the last few years, our teacher shortage hasn't really gotten worse. And I think, to Bill's point, I think as long as the first step to improving instruction in the classroom is making sure that we have all the teachers that we need there. And we've made some really good progress in that in the state over the last few years. There's work to do, but I think we should be proud of the progress we've made.
Jason Brown, thank you. And to our callers, Amy and Bill, thanks for chiming in.
Dave and Dujanovic. Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Tonight, it's a night to say hello and goodbye on NBC.
First, say hello to the newest coach on The Voice, Reba McEntire.
And hello to serious competition for Gwen Stefani, John Legend, and Niall Horan.
Then we say goodbye to another amazing season of AGT.
The epic America's Got Talent finale begins.
With $1 million prize on the line.
So watch live and vote.
The live AGT finale after The Voice.
Tonight on NBC.
Then on KSL 5 News at 10.
Tonight at 10, a 15-year-old debt back from the dead.
I thought it was taken care of.
Could cost a Utah woman her home.
They want $65,000 by the end of this month.
How did it stay underground for so long?
I know they've been called zombie mortgages.
KSL investigator Matt Gephardt digs up the details.
Is that legal? For the most part, yes.
With a warning about debt that won't die. Zombie Mortgage, Revive Debt. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10. Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Hey, BYU football fans! Come see KSL's own Mitch Harper this Thursday, September 28th at Macy's Grocery Store in Lehigh, 760 East Main Street from 4 to 7 p.m. for fun, prizes, and chances to win tickets to the BYU Cincinnati football game or a $50 Macy's gift card. You'll have multiple chances to win every hour. And during the broadcast, be sure to visit the Macy's Meat Department and pick up some of their easy meals. They're all cut, seasoned, and prepared for you. Just put them on the grill or in the oven, and you have dinner in a snap. Those meals are perfect for dinner or any tailgate party. So celebrate the football season and join KSL's own Mitch Harper this Thursday, September 28th at Macy's Tailgate in Lehigh from 4 to 7 p.m. with food, activities for the family, and enter to win tickets to the BYU Cincinnati football game or a $50 Macy's gift card. Macy's. Happy shopping!
Home is where the heart is. It's also where the office is, the school is, the restaurant is, the stadium is. Basically, your home is now the center for everything. So right now might just be the perfect time to upgrade your living space to one that has, well, a little more space. If you've been thinking about building, with home prices leveling out and material costs coming down, right now may be the perfect time to start building your dream home. Let the construction loan experts at Golden West Credit Union help make building your dream home a reality with a convenient low-rate construction loan. We also offer one-time close options so you can secure your construction loan and mortgage conveniently at the same time. Get a personalized rate quote right from the comfort of your own home or with a lending expert at any Golden West branch, or apply in minutes online today at gwcu.org. Golden West Credit Union, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 440574.
We'll take care of you.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the congressional budget standoff continues on Capitol Hill, with some Republican House members refusing to budge until spending gets slashed. Second, Shimano is recalling bike cranksets after thousands of reports of injuries. The company says the cranksets can break while riding and cause the rider to crash. And third, the founder of a nonprofit anti-human trafficking organization will be in court in just over an hour for a bail hearing. We'll look for a high today of 85 degrees, really nothing but sunshine, and right now it's a beautiful 70 downtown. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave's you're going to have to really sell me on this, Dave, because at first blush, I wasn't too impressed with this, but we're going to talk about student loan debt in America being at $1.8 trillion. Wow. So President Biden's plan to forgive this hundreds of billions of dollars in debt failed at the hands of the Supreme Court at the gavel. They're like, get it out of here.
You can't do this.
It's illegal, except for they don't use that word, but it is illegal. It's unconstitutional, I think is what they said. So now let's all listen up because our very own Senator Mitt Romney wants to offer up an alternative to student loan forgiveness. I'm curious.
Okay, so not a solution. This is like the bee sting medicine. It's just a little salve. It's supposed to take away a little bit of the sting. And as Senator Romney tends to do, he partners up with people across the aisle. And he's done so with, I don't know if Kyrsten Sinema is his bestie in the Senate, but he's done a lot of work with her. And this program is patterned after what they're doing already in your home state, Debbie, of Arizona.
Oh.
You didn't even know they had this program.
It's been a long time since I moved away. I haven't lived there since
Decades.
1990, yeah. So it's not really fair to be like, you didn't know about this plan? Okay, so should we talk about where do you want to start with this, Dave? You want to start with the match, how this is going to work?
Yeah, it's a match savings program. It reminds me a little bit of our 401ks. A lot of companies have 401ks. So the way it works here at the station, and I'm sure everybody has something similar with a 401k, but in my case, I have to put a percentage of my paycheck into a 401k. I can't touch it till, I'm 65 years old. It's an investment. I put in 5% of my paycheck. The company will match 4%. So I get a total of 9% of my paycheck put into. So that is an incredible match.
Right.
Like you find me another investment that will give you
this one
80%. Yeah, this is the only one that I've ever seen.
And by the way, nobody here is going to tell you that you can touch your 401k at 59.5 because we want you to go through the next 20 years thinking you can't touch it to 65. Go ahead.
It's just going to grow and grow and grow. So to simplify the math, if I put in $100,
sure,
the match is $80. So that's great.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I put in more than 100, Deb.
No, but what I'm saying is it's like the best return on investment ever. It almost sounds schemish.
Yeah. It 100% sounds schemish.
Like a Ponzi going on there. But I know.
I thought you were laughing because you thought I only put $100 into my 401k.
No, it's an example. It's an example, but when you said you get $80, I about fell over. Like, what? Okay, what's the scam?
Yeah,
Right?
it does have a little
If it
too good to be
sounds
true.
good to be true.
Okay, well, if you think that's good, wait till you learn about the Earn to Learn Act. This is the greatest match in this makes Ponzi schemes seem like it's a poor investment.
And this is all part of what you found with Senator Romney's plan.
Yeah, this is the Romney Sinema Earn to Learn Act.
Okay. So the first example is you put in $100 into this savings fund. This plan would give you $80.
Yeah, that's the 401k.
Okay. All right.
Let me tell you what the Earn to Learn Act will do. You put in that same $100.
Okay.
They match you $800. It is 800% return. It's an 8-to-1 ratio.
I love it, but I'm also very suspicious of it.
Okay, probably should be, because this does sound, as you said,
Where's
scamish.
the money coming from? Is it coming from me, the taxpayer?
Again, a very good question. The promise
Sorry to wear
is
you out.
No. It's very fair because it sounds too good to be true.
Sure.
And if this is the case, then everybody in America is going to go to college because this is the greatest thing that ever happened. Like, I put in 100 and you give me 800 in return. Okay, so at least the way it works in Arizona, and this national program is patterned after almost verbatim what they're doing in Arizona. So in Arizona, they say there's a cap. So this isn't, put in 100,000 and you get $800,000. So there is a cap. Families can deposit $500 into this savings account.
Okay.
And then they receive this 8-to-1 match. So they get $4,500.
Oh.
They have $4,000 in addition to the $500 they already invested. So it requires you to invest a little bit, and then they give you a lot.
Yeah.
And you can do this every year.
I'm starting to warm up to it.
So
you can do it every year?
You can do it every year. So over 4 years, you would have put in $2,000, but you would have made $18,000.
Okay.
In this matching program.
And as long as the price of college doesn't skyrocket, it keeps skyrocketing, you might be able to pay for a year.
Well, $4,500.
$18,000 you might be able to pay for a year, honestly. That's about what it is. Remember we talked about my daughter was up at the University of Utah. It is not it was about 15 to 20 grand a year to send her there.
You're including not just tuition and books, but you're including some living expenses.
Let me go back through that, but I think tuition was $5,000 or $6,000 a semester.
Yeah,
and then you add books and fees and all that other good stuff. So, yeah, I mean it's a start. It's better than nothing.
Well, what they found is, and they've been doing this in Arizona for a while, that 80% of people that are in this program are on track to graduate, and they say in 6 years.
Yeah.
So they're 80% are on track to graduate debt free.
That's awesome.
So this $4,500 a year that they can make has really eased a lot of the burden. It doesn't pay for it all.
But to remind me, where's this infusion of 800% or whatever?
You keep asking questions, Debbie.
Is it from private funds? Is it for the government?
It's a public-private
Okay.
match partnership. So what they're trying to do, at least in Arizona, is get private charities to contribute. So I think that if the funds are exhausted, then the state will make up the difference. But what they're trying to do is get private institutions, companies to contribute to this program so that it doesn't fall completely on the government and our own tax dollars.
I'm impressed with your sales pitch here, Dave, and how you've broken this down, because I was a little confused about it going in, and it felt, like I said, unimpressed, was a little worried that it sounded a little schemish, but now it all makes sense to me.
Okay, there is a little bit, another layer to this. This is only available, and it would only be available to Pell recipients, so low to moderate income households. So if you qualify for Pell Grants, then you would probably qualify for this program as well.
You have to qualify for Pell Grants long before you went to college then. That part I'm a little confused about, because you'd want to start saving over the years. But then, there sounds like there's some layers to this that we'd probably want to look into. But it's the second time he's tried this, right, Dave?
Yeah, started it in 2021, and now it's being reintroduced.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Utah Senator Mike Lee speaking out about a potential government shutdown. He thinks it just doesn't need to happen.
I think a government shutdown is possible. I think it's avoidable. I think we should avoid it. I think the best way to proceed at this point would be to pass something that keeps the government funded for a few weeks.
Lee tells Fox News he wants Congress to appropriate funds to each government body one by one. That could take a few weeks, which is why he wants a temporary solution in the meantime. He also says if the government were to shut down, he sees no reason why the impeachment inquiry into President Biden should stop. We're learning about a 40-year-old woman who died over the weekend after falling while climbing in Rock Canyon with some friends. This happened in the area known as the Balcony. Police haven't yet released the woman's name. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Federal Trade Commission warning people who've taken outstanding student loans to be on the lookout for fake robocalls and text messages. These calls promise either a reduction in payments or canceling the loan altogether for a fee. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has more.
Some big red flags, scammers asking you to pay up front for their debt relief services, or unknown calls and texts asking for your personal information like your federal student aid or FSA login.
That's ABC's Elizabeth Schultze. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average sharply down at the beginning of the day today, down 302 points right now, while the NASDAQ is down about 165 points right now. And our KSL weather looks like more sunshine for a couple of days. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
I'm a big believer in investing into what the wealthiest people in the world invest into. But it's not easy to know exactly what that is, and it hasn't always been possible for regular folks like you and I. But that's changing. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you've done a good job acquiring some assets, now is the time to consider private equity. Private equity is ownership of private companies that aren't traded on the stock market and in most cases are very exclusive. Examples could include ownership of apartments or nursing homes, dental practices, solar farms, you name it. Why do so many billionaires invest into private equity? Because of historically low correlation to the stock market and historically higher returns. If you have a goal with your portfolio but aren't there yet, call Trajan Wealth today. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. May require accreditation.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
We still have delays northbound I-15 in Utah County. This is stretching between 1600 North in Orem and the Pleasant Grove exit. It's all due to a multi-vehicle crash. Now, all the vehicles are over on the right shoulder, but one of the vehicles is facing sideways, and it's over into the grass. And so I think that's causing people to just take a look that they really shouldn't be doing. But that's going to add an extra 3 or 4 minutes to your commute if you're heading up toward the point of the mountain. Once you get into the Salt Lake Valley, no accidents reported there and no delays on major freeways. Advanced Window Products, affordable windows from their factory to your front door in 8 weeks guaranteed. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindowsusa.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny and warm today and tomorrow, and we'll see clouds building up and a chance of rain by the weekend. Right now, 72 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
On your bingo card, mark that it is day 12 of the United Auto Workers strike. against the big three American car makers. You got Stellantis, you got Ford, you got GM. So President Biden is supposed to visit. I think he's on his way. We're going to find out in just a moment from Justin Finch of ABC, who's waiting on the line here. I think he's going to be in Michigan any moment now to support the labor union. He's actually, it sounds like he's going to walk the picket line.
I feel like it's going to make a big impact. I just hope that, he is supporting us and kind of like pushes us, pushes the CEOs to do what's right.
And you can blame Donald Trump for President Biden's visit. Because originally, the Biden administration was going to stay out of this negotiation. They were offering some help. Hey, we'll help you mediate between the two sides. We don't want to take sides. And then Donald Trump announces he's going to hold a rally on Wednesday. And then, surprise, surprise, look who shows up a day early to stand on the picket line.
Justin, I was reading an article earlier this morning before the show, and it sounded like there was some behind-the-scenes last minute back and forth at the White House as to whether the president should go or not, or where he should go, and if he should stand with United Auto Workers. How valid is that? Did that happen?
This has been very interesting. We have seen and heard all kinds of backdoor dealings surrounding this trip, but it's one of those situations where you have to kind of look at what's not being said. As you kind of mentioned here, the White House not really trying to say or confirm that these two visits by very likely rematched Biden and Trump in 2024 are just by happenstance a day apart in visiting Wayne County, Michigan, the site of this ongoing UAW strike. We at ABC News tried to get a sense of if the president is going with a full awareness and support of the demands that the union has been making, which include a 40% pay increase, retiree benefits, pensions for new hires, a 4-day work week. The president not addressing each of those items, but saying that he believes that over the years that auto workers have sacrificed so much for the industry, going back to the financial panic some years ago, and that as the industry comes back online and roars back, he says, that workers should be a part of that too and benefiting from that. It's with that message he is now going to go to the Detroit area today and join that picket line. And he is doing so against some pretty brutal numbers we went over yesterday from that ABC News, Washington Post poll, perhaps the most dire of those points, and there are many dire points in that survey, is that 44% of Americans believe they've gotten worse off financially since Biden took office. And no doubt there are people who feel that way who will be on that UAW picket line today alongside the president.
If he is standing in the picket line, is this a message being sent, or how are the big three American car makers, the Ford, GM, and Stellantis, how are they reacting to what appears, at least visually, that President Biden has chosen a side?
We don't know for sure if the president or the White House is going to make any entrees to the big three while the president is in Michigan. But we know that he has been supportive of their remaining at the bargaining table now for several weeks leading up to this strike. So perhaps they're seeing this as just part of what the president is doing up against 2024, a reelection campaign and the like, as a way to show that he is standing with them in more than just words. But we also know that the president may have a lot more driving here than just the appearance. We know that Trump is going to really kind of hit him tomorrow on his whole focus on green energy, green efforts, electric cars, and zero emissions, because Trump is saying that is what is costing these workers their jobs and benefits, as these companies are saying that, hey, look, we are so strapped right now making fuel combustion engine vehicles alongside EVs, we're having a hard time keeping up and also meeting all of these demands the workers are foisting upon us.
Justin Finch with ABC News joining us live right now to talk about President Biden's journey to Michigan. He's going to be joining the United Auto Workers picket line in Michigan. I wonder if he's going to be holding one of those signs I'm seeing right now. Both, all of the television networks, at least around-the-clock networks, Justin, covering this live and watching it in studio. It doesn't look like he's arrived there yet. Do you know if there's been any progress made between the two sides on this? So there's some sort of resolution in sight?
Right. We've heard from the UAW and from Ford that they're having movement in their conversations. We can say that. General Motors and Stellantis seem to be in a much more tighter place with the talks that they've gone so far. We know that in recent days that they've escalated the strike at plants that produce GM and Stellantis parts and autos. So that they're in a different place as it appears so far. But an interesting point that we have heard from crews on the ground in Michigan has been a lot of workers are on the fence about the optics of these appearances, and they want the focus to be on their platform, on their causes, and not so much these two candidates who are running for office in 2024. That has been echoed by Sean Fain, the UAW president. And so it will be interesting to see over today and tomorrow the kind of receptions that we are seeing because the workers say for far too long their needs have been on the back burner, and this has been their chance to be on the front burner.
Justin Finch with ABC News. Thank you for joining us. And Debbie, as we watch this and we're waiting for President Biden to show up, it's one thing to keep some of the specifics of where the president is going to show up and what's exactly going to happen. He's going to be at this cross street. I understand that. They're not going to unveil that for safety and security reasons. But the entire trip itself has been so chaotic. Even the idea that he would show up and picket side by side, arm in arm, like you said, can you imagine him carrying a sign? There's no way that happens. But how do you not when you're standing on the picket line?
Just to get into the thorniness of this whole situation for the Biden administration when they start picking these sides is that last week it was reported that he had some top advisors that were to fly into Detroit and start kind of getting in the middle or at least tapping their toe in the water of these negotiations. And then those plans got scuttled all of a sudden. And then there was some confusion more recently this week, I think it was last night, about whether the president would go at all, according to CNN's reporting, and that people in one area of the picket line were told the president's coming tomorrow, only to find out later that never mind. But it's interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen a president in my lifetime walk a picket line.
Nor I. I can't think of one. And part of the argument, and you will hear this from President Trump, Justin Finch just reported it, is he's going to go after President Biden's policy of electric vehicles. You know, every car sold has to be, in 2032 needs to be an electric vehicle. There's a lot of these policy pushes from the Biden administration. And what Ford, GM, and Stellantis are saying from reports that I've read is they're telling the auto workers, the union, the reason we can't just dump all of our profits, the billions and billions of dollars of profits, and return it to you is because we have to take a lot of that money and dump it into new plants to produce electric vehicles, because that's what we're being forced into doing. So you'll hear from President Trump hit that very hard, saying, well, the reason you guys aren't getting it is because the administration is pushing EVs in such a hard way.
Well, then maybe the strike is it a stalemate? So you go ahead and push your EVs and then go find new workers to make the EVs. We'll see what happens. We're going to continue to track it. Once the president gets to Michigan, we'll let you know where he decides to stand on that picket line. Straight ahead, it feels like we have had a phenomenal water year. It feels like lots of rain this summer. We obviously had an incredible year of snowpack this last winter. So we're going to do a water year as it comes to an end, a water year report card. See how we did. Did we get an A++? Find out next.
Dave and Dujanovic. Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news. If you need a break from it all, this weekend is General Conference.
When you've dealt with a lot and you need to recharge, this weekend is General Conference.
If things are difficult or life is going really well.
For all these times, a reminder, it's time for General Conference Weekend at 102.7 FM and streaming live on the app for KSL News Radio.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Everybody knows Cache Valley has the happiest cows in the universe, and we're ready to celebrate. Round up your herd and head to Logan, Utah for the 3rd annual free Cache Valley Cheese and Dairy Festival, September 29th and 30th. Free samples, live music, and food trucks. Workshops where you can learn how to fine-tune your taste buds for gourmet cheese tasting, make an eye-popping charcuterie board, or identify the subtle essences in dark chocolate from around the world. You can even learn to make your own marvelous mozzarella at home. Wait! I want to tell you about something totally awesome. You can watch an authentic cheesemonger crack open a 75-pound wheel of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. That's 131 gallons of milk aged over 730 days for Parmesan perfection. You can even blow a giant Swiss Alpenhorn or practice your yodeling. Well, maybe don't do that part. Loosen your belt for a delicious, cheesy Dutch oven dinner and entertainment on Saturday night. Buy your dinner tickets online and in advance. Amazing! Get moving! CacheCheeseFest.com.
Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Join KSL on the movie show this Friday from 9 to noon at My Hearing Centers, 8941 South, 700 East, Suite 203 in Sandy.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Senator Mike Lee thinks a government shutdown could be avoided with a temporary funding bill. Second, a woman was killed in a climbing accident near Provo over the weekend. Third, the Federal Trade Commission is warning about scams targeting people with student loans. They're promising reduced loan payments or loan forgiveness for a fee. Right now, 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Utah's Water Watch. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Water Watch report card here. So Utah's water year is coming to an end. The end of the month, a couple of days away. How do we do? How did you do at your home? How did the Noriega household do with all the water we got this year?
All time. It was incredible. Yeah, we had a ton of water.
And did you cut back?
Yeah, ish. I mean, it was better than last year. It's hard to remember exactly what we were doing before because last year was so Spartan. We just barely watered our lawns, and it was a disaster. They just died like crazy. But this year, much better.
Yeah, I was curious to know if all of the water we got changed habits, like less watering in the yard. Maybe you took shorter showers still because you got in the habit of doing that. But I'm also curious to know, like, how many people went in and like flipped that strip, right? How many ripped out the lawn in that annoying parking strip in front of your home and flipped it into some, sort of beautiful strip of plants that are of low water use, that don't take on a lot of water. We're going to get more details in just a moment from the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. And I want to ask them about that. Did people actually do things to their yard to make them more water efficient? But first, let's get with KSL Chief Meteorologist Kevin Eubank and also KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff for that report card.
The water year officially ends on September 30th here in the state of Utah, and this water year has been phenomenal.
Kevin says the water year runs from October 1st through September 30th.
Our average in Salt Lake City is 15.52 inches of water during that period. But for the last several years, we've been well below that. This year, we're going to finish above 18 inches of water. That's going to be the wettest water year since 2019, and it has been a huge help. If we can duplicate, not necessarily exactly the way we had last winter with the record-breaking snow, but if we can get it an average to above average year for snowfall, it will go a long way to getting our reservoir numbers and levels back up to near normal. It will also help us with some of those big lakes like Bear Lake and Lake Powell, the Great Salt Lake, that are going to need multiple years of significant water supply to rebound.
There was some worry that the wet winter would make everyone think they didn't need to conserve water over the summer.
When you look at how much water we've used, we've done very well at that as well. In fact, water conservation, we're 20% under the 10-year average for our outdoor watering. So we're conserving that water, we're being good stewards of that water, and that's allowed us to keep more water up in our reservoir.
Kevin says right now things are looking pretty promising as the new water year begins as well.
When you look at the outlook for fall into winter, it right now looks to be average for precipitation and slightly warmer for temperatures, which I think is just fine. I think most people enjoy a nice fall, and it looks like that is in the cards for us here across the state. We're in a good place, and looks like the overall pattern will help us continue that as we roll through 2023 and into 2024.
Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
What stood out to me with that report, Debbie, is that we're 20% under on our usage. Mm-hmm. Now, the question I would have, and you alluded to this, is this because we've changed our habits, or was there some sort of physical change? Did we rip the strip, or did we xeriscape our lands? What did we do? What do you think led to that 20% decrease in usage?
Yeah, Cynthia B., Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. Do you have the answer to those questions?
I think there's no one single answer, but it is wonderful news that as a state, we're kind of recognizing, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. So I do think it's a combination of the reality of drought, understanding that we're growing and that that's driving demand for water. And then, of course, it doesn't hurt to have really fabulous programs that are helping people make that change. I do think the biggest reason, though, is most likely that our cities are adopting the water efficiency standards for new construction. And it's an absolute fundamental change in the way we're approaching how we're providing water on the new growth as well. And more than 56% of the state's population live in an area now where they can qualify for the rebates through Utah Water Savers because their cities have adopted water efficiency standards for new construction.
How would you describe the changes from years past on that new construction, and what are they doing differently now?
Well, it's just getting started. So there's going to be a backlog of projects that have been in the pipeline, right? And then, got approved, and it takes a year to build them or whatever. But what it basically says is on commercial and business, all of that type of use, the amount of lawn they can have is pretty small, almost none. Obviously, residential gets a little higher percentage, so it depends on where you're at in the state. If you're in Washington County, you're looking at no more than 8% lawn on new construction. If you're in northern Utah, you could do up to 35%, but in, following specific guidelines. One thing that we've worked really hard is to try to get, other than regional differences, to try to get cities to adopt fairly similar standards, because this is such a difficult change for everybody, including people in the industry. If there's a lot of different ways to accomplish the same thing, it makes it more difficult, for each nuance. And so really trying to unify that approach across all the different entities and make this change as easy as we can, because it has to happen.
Cynthia B. with the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District, talking to her about our water conservation. It shows we've using 20% less as we look at the end of the year, the water year totals, which is good news. Is there anything that new existing owner, like older homes, is there anything that owners can do there in the fall or in the spring to rip out their lawn or put in low water plants?
So the key is the rebate programs through Utah Water Savers are a grass replacement program. We're not going to rebate anybody for just throwing down rocks. We still have to have landscapes at the end of this. It's about balance. It's not just about water. You can't solve for only one variable. So one of the things that we've seen this past year, just in Jordan Valley service area, which is just 2/3 of Salt Lake County, this season we've had 363,000 square feet of lawn removed and replaced. And we have another 456,000 square feet of lawn that's in the pipeline in the rebate process right now. Those projects are being worked on. What I would tell someone is it's okay to start small, flip a park strip, go through the process and learn how to do it. You don't have to commit to a large project yet. But this is an optimal time to start planning for next spring so that you can submit your project. Like, we'll never close the process for submittal for our area, but some will close and then reopen on March 1st. What we would encourage people to do is take your time, plan out what you want to do over the next few months, and then make sure you get your application in early, because of course spring rush is a real thing, and we don't want your project to be delayed because you have to wait for us to get through a whole huge backlog of applicants. So plan over the winter, get ready, get that approved, and then you'll be ready to go in the spring.
What website should people go to, Cynthia, to find out more?
UtahWaterSavers.com. And you can know that, and that's not just for homeowners, businesses, any project, anyone that's managing a landscape or property owners can qualify for these rebates. So whether you're commercial or residential, all of it will funnel through Utah Water Savers. But we just need to replace lawn that is non-functional wherever we can and preserve it in the places where it's actually serving a recreational purpose.
Cynthia B., thank you for joining us from the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District.
You just Googled the website. What are you seeing there, Dave?
Yeah, she made a very good point. What they're not looking for is for you to rip out your lawn and just dump a bunch of gravel there. That doesn't qualify for these programs. What they're looking for is smart landscaping. So what I'm looking at on the website is they've ripped out the park strip, and then they've replaced it with a few pavers and some native plants, a couple trees, and that's kind of the idea that they're going for. Is we still want to make it look beautiful. You still want it to be appealing. We're just looking at getting rid of this non-functional grass. And if you're wondering, well, what in the world is non-functional grass? Grass is supposed to be played on. So if you're not playing on the grass, if that's not something that your family does, then that would be considered non-functional grass.
Okay, so I'm scrolling through this website right now. It is phenomenal. You can use the drop-down menu to find your city or your county, and then you can click on that. And I've been scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I'm going to go with Sandy. That's close enough to where I live, although it's not where I live. And then you go on and you can create an account, and then they go through all of the different landscape incentives, and then they walk you through the program rules, if you're eligible or not for full yard conversions, or they even have a area for smaller projects like flip your strip or, rip out your side yard. I want to know more about this because it sounds like now is the time, if you live in Salt Lake County, to start submitting your plans so you can get a rebate when you go to do it in the spring. All right, we're not going to let this story go just yet. In the coming days, let's dig into more of this and how this water saver plan works. Next, I'm super excited. Matt Gephardt, is he calling the show or is he in studio with us? I hope he's in studio with us. He's in studio with us. I love it when Matt's in the house. KSL Television's investigative reporter Matt Gephardt in the house next. Dave, you saw a story that he just aired that you were super interested in.
Yeah, car insurance is dropping you after you made too many claims. And I want to know, are they just too happy to take my premiums and they just get angry as soon as I make a claim on something? What's going on here? Matt Gephardt joins us next.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. A woman from Wasatch County has been arrested on suspicion of murdering her month-old baby. KSL.com cites police documents saying that Estrella Meza Ojeda told officers she'd left the baby's body next to I-80s in Parley's Canyon. Court documents, though, don't say whether remains were found. The baby was born prematurely and needed supplemental oxygen to survive. The families of Utah homicide victims came together for a candlelight vigil last night to support one another for a National Day of Remembrance. Darcy Housley, the mother of Brian Housley, who was killed in a drive-by shooting in Ogden, spoke to KSL TV.
I struggle every day of my life. Sorry. It's on my mind 24/7.
Housley's killer remains to be found, but the family says they're thankful to have others to lean on, and they're asking anyone with information regarding their son's murder to contact Ogden police. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. New data out from the CDC about long COVID, when some symptoms of COVID-19 linger for months and even years after someone recovers. According to the CDC, 18 million U.S. adults have suffered from long COVID. It's also affected kids, especially teenagers. More from ABC's Ariel Reshef.
As for what kind of help there is now that COVID is no longer considered a public health emergency, long COVID could qualify as a disability and possibly for Social Security disability payments, but you have to document your symptoms and speak with your healthcare provider before applying.
That's ABC's Ariel Reshef. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now 291 points on the day. The NASDAQ is down 150 points right now. And our KSL weather, beautiful, sunny, mild. We could see some rain by the weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:33.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
You can stream your favorite show anytime, but the opera only happens 4 times per year. Join us and make new memories with your family and friends. Enjoy the entertaining stories, beautiful sets and costumes, and mesmerizing music. You deserve an elegant night on the town or a Sunday matinee with Utah Opera. Your couch will be there when you get back. This is it, your perfect first opera. October 7th through the 15th, Utah Opera begins its season with one of the most popular operas of all time, Puccini's La Bohème. This tragic love story will seem familiar. It was the inspiration for the smash hit Rent. You'll recognize characters and moments like Mimi asking Rodolfo to light her candle. But now experience it with an operatic twist. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahopera.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the crash we had northbound I-15 in Utah County is finally cleared and the delays are almost gone. You might still see just a few brake lights approaching the Pleasant Grove exit. Other than that, things look great in Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, Weber counties. No other accidents reported on city streets, and you've got a pretty good drive going through the mountains on I-80 and I-84. How do you know if you're getting the best deal on employee benefits? You don't unless you get free quotes from every insurance company every year. Visit myplan.com to get free quotes. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny and warm today and tomorrow. We'll see clouds building up and a chance of rain by the weekend. Right now we're at 73 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Matt Gephardt in the house right now from KSL 5 TV. He walked down the hall. Good morning, Matt. Let's get Mac's microphone on, shall we?
Good morning.
What is it, 20 steps down the hall? It's great to see you, Matt.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm closing my circles this morning.
So Dave saw this story that you aired last night on KSL 5, right? It was last night on KSL 5. I nodded off by 9:58 last night.
Well, I've got good news for you because it will air again today on our brand new KSL 4 p.m. newscast.
Awesome.
So tune in and we'll do it again.
I will, absolutely. But Dave loved this story.
Okay, my initial reaction, as soon as I saw him, Matt, I thought, there you go.
Yep.
Car insurance or insurance companies in general, more than willing to take your premiums.
Yep.
But as soon as you ask for a little payout, you want to cash in on that a little bit, they're like, well, I'm done with you.
Yep.
And they drop you. And specifically, you're talking about windshield replacements, which I've had many over the years.
What? You live in Utah and drive down I-15?
I-15 every day.
What?
Go figure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little bit from your report from Daniel Wheelwright. Who's this?
Daniel Wheelwright is a guy who contacted us. He's a viewer who answered the tip line and basically said, I can't believe I'm getting dropped by insurance. Isn't this what we have insurance for?
All right, and he had a cracked windshield.
He did.
Okay, let's listen.
Daniel Wheelwright is the walking definition, scratch that, he's the driving definition of a road warrior. His job keeps him on the road pretty much all the time.
About 50,000 miles a year.
Now, racking up that sort of mileage on Utah roads...
You hear it. There's all kinds of trucks, and doing construction.
...means only one thing, rock chips in his windshields.
One of them went halfway across the windshield, and it spread just overnight like that.
In 2 years, Daniel says he's had 3 chips, each of which has grown into a big crack, meaning the windshield had to be replaced. But that third claim apparently damaged his relationship with his insurance company.
Then the insurance company sent me a letter saying, we're dropping your comprehensive and you'll have to figure it out.
Okay, Matt. So it feels a little shady that they are fine. Like, yeah, we'll replace it. Oh, we're done with you. Okay, so what does the law say?
The law says they're absolutely allowed to do that. The insurance company can say, we are no longer... Insurance companies are not in the business of, they're not a charity. They're not in the business of losing money. And if they decide that you are a money loser, they can say, we're going to not insure you anymore. Feel free to go shop elsewhere.
Wow.
So they as far as the rates go, how does this work? So can they set rates different for you and me depending on our driving habits?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. But what you're not allowed to do is once you've insured somebody, raise their rates for something that is not their fault under Utah law. So, for example, this would protect somebody who maybe was not at fault that got rear-ended. Happened to my wife a few weeks ago. Happened to Debbie Dujanovic. That's you. It happened to Deanie Wimmer a few weeks ago. And but it protects people like that.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Everyone's fine. But in those 2 cases, but it protected them. These claims were made. Insurance companies did what they did, but their rates were not allowed to go up under Utah law because they were not at fault. People who hit them presumably did go up. But they can't raise those rates. So if all of a sudden I sign you, if I'm an insurance salesman and I sign you, and then all of a sudden turns out you replace 3 windshields a year, and I'm not making my money back on what you're making in premiums, then I cut you, and that is perfectly legal.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense on both sides. It makes a ton of sense that the insurance company's not running a charity. They can't just be, doling out money hand over fist. But at the same time, I shouldn't be punished because there's some car on the other side of the freeway or a truck that's kicking up gravel like crazy.
Yeah. Well, and insurance is by its very nature gambling, right? They're trying to estimate what their risk is, and the house doesn't want to lose. And that's what so they do make payments. They couldn't say, I'm sure this has happened, but I believe it would be against the law for them to say, you're making a claim today, we're not going to pay that claim, and you're gone. They did pay, to be clear, State Farm in all three of these broken windshield, in this particular Daniel Wheelwright's cases. They fixed his Tesla, $1,500 a pop windshields thrice. And they didn't kick him off before that, but they have now said you're no longer worth doing business with. And
after doing $4,500 worth of windshield repairs.
Yeah, in a couple of years.
We're talking to Matt Gephardt, KSL5 investigative reporter, is airing a story today at 4 o'clock on the brand new KSL5 TV newscast at 4 p.m., right? KSL5 at 4. And it has to do with car insurance. And the guy you talked to, he got dropped from his auto insurance policy. He had a number of rock chip repairs that he needed to have done to his Tesla. And his name's Daniel Wheelwright. And it turns out I'm the Daniel Wheelwright of Broadcast House here. I had 3 windshields break thanks to rock chips. And I promise you, the one that hit my windshield was so tiny. I mean, I was like, what happened? And, of course, the crack ran by the time I parked in the parking lot here and got out of the car, the crack had gone all the way across the windshield. And it was 3 windshields in under 2 years, $700 for this very reason. Yep. So what I ended up doing is paying out of pocket and being broke month after month after month. I mean, that starts to really eat into I'll just take tracks everywhere. I won't drive anymore. I ended up shopping around for a place that would replace my windshield for free. Like the actual windshield repair shop would replace my windshield for free within a year if it broke again. And I found it. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but I'm going to give you the name of it off the air, and maybe you can pass it on to Daniel because I feel bad for the Daniels of the world.
So this is the rock... This is the windshield company is insuring their own windshields against.
Yes. Yeah, and
I'm
that
curious,
helped me out
was
a lot.
it more or less? So you got bids, presumably at multiple places.
It was less. Oh, it was so the one place I'd gone to consistently was $700 and some odd to replace it. But then I went out looking for bids, and it was about $550 to replace it. The thing hasn't cracked. The crazy thing is that they put the warranty sticker in my windshield, so I remembered I had it. So it was right there, where you put, all the other little stickers for like your car wash or whatever pass that you have. It's right up there. And the doggone thing didn't break for a year, so now it's out of warranty. So if it breaks again, but I'm going to go back there again because the 1-year warranty, that meant a lot.
Earned Debbie Dujanovic's business.
That's right. And I'm not telling you what it is because I don't want to give them free advertising, right? I don't want to do that. And I don't know. I didn't have to go back yet. So I didn't have to put the warranty to the test. But this is the position it puts drivers in. We just can't afford to, A, be dropped from insurance, or B, keep replacing these things on our own.
You got to have insurance. That is the hard and fast laws. You got to have insurance to be driving on the roads. And to be clear, this isn't just a car thing, and this isn't just too many claims thing. I've reported in the last couple of years about people who live in more rural areas, for example, the outskirts of the Park City area surrounded by all that scrub oak, who have insurance companies coming along and saying, we had to pay out a lot of fire claims last year, not you, but others in the state of Utah, and we're not going to do that anymore, so bye-bye. You're off of our insurance policy. So that is being allowed here. There are states that are toying with not allowing that. California is currently toying with not allowing that. And it becomes a debate because on one hand you have, we got to be able to, if we're going to allow people to build homes, we got to be able to allow them to buy insurance and they have to pay more than their fair share, right? Than somebody who lives right in front of a fire hydrant down in the city or something. But we also can't have it be the cost of their, mortgage every year or but then in order for the insurance companies not to go broke, not to go bankrupt, they have to raise premiums on all of the people who did choose to live in a metropolitan area with a fire hydrant in front of their house. So it's an interesting debate. They're dealing with it in California a lot because of fires. They're dealing with it in Florida a lot because of hurricanes. And you've got some lawmakers, this is a pretty bipartisan issue as far as I can tell, some lawmakers who were saying it makes financial sense for us to force insurance companies, if you're going to do business with one person in our state, you got to do it with everybody. And others to say, no, we're going to let insurance companies pick and choose with whom they want to do business, which is the current policy in the state of Utah.
Another solution that I've heard to this specifically is a secondary insurance where perhaps the state steps in and says above a certain amount, then we will step in and cover that to help protect the insurance company.
They do have that, and they have that with windshields also, by the way. Certain insurance companies will offer riders for windshields specifically.
Oh, that's a good tip.
There you go.
Whoa, Matt, you're full of advice as always. You can watch this story this afternoon at 4 on KSL 5 TV. Are you going to be live?
Heck yeah. TV's for being on.
That's right. Yeah. If you're a reporter who's not on TV, you're definitely right. There's a problem
You're doing it wrong.
there.
Yeah,
you're unemployed.
That comes bad at contract time.
Okay, so I promise I will not be napping at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I will tune in. I will watch this report live. You can also catch it on KSLTV.com, which is KSL Television's website. Love the partnership for you to come down the hall here.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me.
Let our listeners know what's going on in your world. Matt Gephardt, amazing as always. Next, it turns out more people in Utah may be dumping their spouses. Utah comes in 8th place for the highest divorce rate in the entire country. Believe it or not, we have a Utah lawmaker joining us on the line next, Dave, because Todd Weiler is not only a lawmaker, he's a senator on Capitol Hill, but he's also a divorce attorney. I want to pick his brain. What is he hearing when people come to him to file for divorce? Like, what is driving people to court to sever ties with their spouse?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-news station in the morning?
It's this one, weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with a 10-year everything guarantee.
When making important life decisions about your financial future or insurance needs, it's important to work with people you trust. That's why at Farm Bureau Financial Services, we don't rely on algorithms, bots, or auto-generated answers. We get to know you so we can help you get the right coverage and make smart financial decisions. We're the people who provide insurance and financial planning all in one place. Find a Farm Bureau agent or advisor at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it.
As I look at my path to the NFL, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. Having a supporting cast for me made all the difference, both on and off the field. And the thing I realized this last year was having that supporting cast made my dreams and my goals a reality. I prepare as best as I can for every situation on the football field. You know, that same mindset applies to me as a husband, as a dad. And being a new father with an 8-month-old child, I've realized that, you know, I now have a responsibility to my son and to my wife, just like I do my teammates. I spend all my time being a quarterback, and I need to find people that I can trust and rely upon. Deseret First Credit Union, they are those people that are spending all that time to help me manage and take care of my family. My name is Taysom Hill, and my why is faith, family, and football.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Tonight, it's a night to say hello and goodbye on NBC.
First, say hello to the newest coach on The Voice, Reba McEntire.
And hello to serious competition for Gwen Stefani, John Legend, and Niall Horan.
Then we say goodbye to another amazing season of AGT.
The epic America's Got Talent finale begins.
With $1 million prize on the line.
So watch live and vote.
The live AGT finale after The Voice.
Tonight on NBC.
Then on KSL 5 News at 10.
Tonight at 10, a 15-year-old dead back from the dead.
I thought it was taken care of.
Could cost a Utah woman her home.
They want $65,000 by the end of this month.
How did it stay underground for so long?
I know they've been called zombie mortgages.
KSL investigator Matt Gephardt digs up the details.
Is that legal? For the most part, yes.
With a warning about debt that won't die. Zombie Mortgage, Revive Debt. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, police in Wasatch County have arrested a woman suspected of killing her month-old baby, leaving the child's body next to Interstate 80. Second, families of homicide victims held a vigil last night to remember their loved ones. Third, could long COVID be the basis for a Social Security disability claim? New data about the disease could support that idea. Right now, 73 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, I was shocked when I read this survey. It dropped into our email inboxes here at KSL. I thought, I don't know if I want to talk about it. It seems like such a dark subject, but what the heck? We'll talk about it. Because maybe we can save a marriage or two here, and that would be the bright side. Utah ranks 8th in the nation for highest divorce rate.
That surprises me.
Yeah, we're just right around where Idaho's at, which I was like, that surprises me too. And this is a new study about divorce rates from an online company called Form Rush. And I just looked up, Form Rush, and basically they offer forms for divorce papers and such. So I don't know how they're calculating all of this, but we come in 8th. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wonder if some of that is because in Utah it is very cultural to get married. That is something, if in many places across the country, living together for years, even decades is very normal. But socially, culturally here in Utah, it's much more common to get married, even at a young age.
Well, Senator Todd Weiler, not only as senator up on Utah's Capitol Hill, but also happens to be an attorney who handles divorces. Good morning.
Good morning.
Looking forward to talking to you about this. See, I always think it's because of the in-laws, but apparently Dave thinks it's because it's cultural. What do you say?
Well, I think it's a mix of factors. So first of all, I'm not going to comment on whether that study is accurate. I don't know that we're the 8th highest. I don't know that we're not. But I will say nobody in Utah should be buying forms from that company because our court system has a wonderful website where you can just go in and put all your information and it'll spit out the forms for you. I'm not encouraging anyone to get divorced, but I'm just saying that we've made it easy in that sense. However, and this might shock you even more, Debbie and Dave, about almost 80% of the people who get divorced in Utah, neither one of them have an attorney. So those forms are there on the state's website, the state court's website.
That is the most shocking thing I've heard all day. I had no idea. You're telling me you can DIY your own divorce?
Yes, and most people do.
Okay, so you're not
not always the best idea, but it is possible.
So I don't. But how are you financially staying afloat if they don't need an attorney?
Yeah, the 20%.
That's another discussion for another day. What do you see as the main reasons when somebody comes to you to file?
Well, okay, and I called another divorce attorney this morning because I had a little heads up that we're going to have this conversation. So I wanted to talk with her and see if we're on the same page, and I think we were. It's almost never one reason, but if I had to pick one reason, I would say unrealistic expectations. So a lot of people think if I get divorced, all my problems are going to go away, and I'm just going to live happily ever after. And that almost never happens. In fact, usually your problems may multiply because now you have two families to deal with instead of one. And a lot of people get married and have those expectations, and two years later they have some debt, they have a crying baby, and that little spark of all of those hormones that kind of led you to the marriage, that's kind of run out. So, and then I think that's when people have to make the choice: are we in this together, or are we going to part our ways? And some, a certain percentage of those people will part their ways.
The unrealistic expectations, that it resonates. It makes a lot of sense, though I was expecting you to say, one of the big three, abuse or, infidelity or financial disaster. I would have thought those would have been the main reasons for divorce.
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing, is the unrealistic part of the unrealistic expectation is the happily ever after. And most people, will have some, a lot of people have addictions. It may be alcohol, it may be porn, it may be meth. Finances come into play because, a lot of people, they don't have realistic expectations about what they're going to make, or credit cards. Infidelity is something I've seen overcome. I'm shocked at how many people come to me for divorce. And there was some infidelity in the past, but they worked through that. But now they're divorcing because they're bored, or they have nothing in common, or the kids are grown, or whatever. And when you talk about abuse, physical abuse is real, and I don't want to discount that in any way. But there's a lot of verbal abuse and emotional abuse, and a lot of people take that, and at some point they reach a breaking point and they say, "I'm done. I'm just done. I can't do that anymore."
Can't do it anymore.
So all of those things, and it's usually a few of the things I just rattled off. It's usually not just one issue that ultimately leads to divorce. It's usually two or three of those.
Senator Todd Weiler serves up on Utah's Capitol Hill. He's also an attorney who handles divorces. And when we saw this survey that came out that says Utah's in the top 10 of states with the most divorce, with the highest divorce rates, we're number 8. We thought, wow, why? What's going on? So we don't have much time left, Senator, but I did hear another divorce attorney. Don't worry, he's not your competition because he's out of state. He's out of state. He doesn't practice law in Utah. Right? But I loved what I really appreciated what I heard him say. And he said that what some couples who are dating don't recognize and explore is that who you are going to marry will be the most important decision you will ever make in your life. And yet couples who are heading to the altar typically spend more time choosing a cake, a wedding cake out, and the flavor of the wedding cake than they do talking about the real intimate issues related to a marriage, whether it is intimacy or whether that is financial issues or whether that is how are we going to deal with the kids when they finally come along, if they come along. Do you agree with that we just don't spend enough time on the front end?
Absolutely. I also have heard that most people spend more time choosing their toothpaste than they do their presidential candidate. So I think that's one of those flaws we have as humans.
Yeah, it's easy not to look too deeply because we're afraid what we'd see under the hood. I understand that.
Well, I don't know that we're afraid. I think we're naive, Dave. I mean, when you're 19 or 21, a lot of people in Utah get married young. You just don't know what you don't know, and that probably won't change in the future.
Is there a common age when people tend to get divorced most often?
I don't think so. I've had clients in their 80s, and I've had clients in their 20s. I have one client right now who's actually in the teens, but it's amazing. It's amazing. I've seen people married for 3 months to getting divorced. I've seen people married for 60 years, literally 60 years getting divorced. And so I don't think there's I'm sure there's an average and a median, but I don't have that data.
Todd Weiler, thank you for joining us. A senator as his part-time job in the state legislature, but he joins us today because he's a divorce attorney and he's lending us his perspective. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have time to ask him how many times couples maybe think about divorce or talk to an attorney about divorce, but then turn things around. They go to couples therapy, or maybe they separate for a while and get back together. Really fascinating discussion. President Biden, we're just getting word. I think he may have arrived in Michigan. He's going to join the picket line with the United Auto Workers any moment.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Utah's starting teacher salaries have grown significantly over the past 4 years, with a number of districts now offering $60,000 to brand new teachers. Envision Utah's Vice President of Education, Jason Brown, tells David Dujanovic Utah did fairly well getting through the pandemic.
So much difficulty and challenge around teaching with COVID, and there was remote learning and all those other things. The fact that our shortage has stayed relatively level, I think, is thanks to the fact that we've started to make some real gains in what it means to be a teacher in terms of compensation.
Brown says starting teacher salaries will likely need to go up again because of the current economic conditions. They also need to focus on end-of-career salaries to keep teachers in the profession. Heber City's police chief, Dave Booth, is retiring after 11 years in that job. The department news release says the city's population has grown 58% in that time, but it's seen a reduction in violent and property crimes. Parker Sever will become Heber's new police chief. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Federal Trade Commission has joined the attorneys general of 17 states in a lawsuit accusing Amazon of violating antitrust laws. In a news release, the FTC says Amazon has abused its power to raise retail prices and to put pressure on other businesses that sell goods on its platform. It says the company has stifled competition on price, quality, and product selection. Utah is not among the states that has joined in that suit. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 288 points on the day so far. The NASDAQ is down 152 points. And we just have the prettiest weather you could ask for the next couple of days. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article, or sensitive personal information about your family. Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff, so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Lennox Technology and the people who stand behind it. That's what you could expect when you work with your local Lennox dealer. Call Climate Services. Your Lennox system. Your Lennox dealer. They are truly perfect together, working together season after season to maintain your home's ultimate comfort. For a limited time, get up to $1,500 in rebates, or qualified buyers make no payments, incur no interest for 6 months when financing a new Lennox system. Plus, receive up to $3,200 in federal tax credits. Working with Call Climate Services means you're choosing the best in the business. Call today at 801-298-4810, 801-298-4810, or visit online at callclimate.com. Callclimate.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Dealer license number 35823455501.
Everybody knows Cache Valley has the happiest cows in the universe, and we're ready to celebrate. Round up your herd and head to Logan, Utah for the 3rd annual free Cache Valley Cheese and Dairy Festival, September 29th and 30th. Free samples, live music, and food trucks. Workshops where you can learn how to fine-tune your taste buds for gourmet cheese tasting, make an eye-popping charcuterie board, or identify the subtle essences in dark chocolate from around the world. You can even learn to make your own marvelous mozzarella at home. Wait! I want to tell you about something totally awesome. You can watch an authentic cheesemonger crack open a 75-pound wheel of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. That's 131 gallons of milk aged over 730 days for Parmesan perfection. You can even blow a giant Swiss Alpenhorn or practice your yodeling. Well, maybe don't do that part. Loosen your belt for a delicious cheesy Dutch oven dinner and entertainment on Saturday night. Buy your dinner tickets online and in advance. Amazing! Get moving! CashCheeseFest.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meeks.
It's a delay-free drive on all the Valley freeways, but we do have an accident in Weber County. It is affecting traffic in multiple directions in Ogden, 30th Street at Adams Avenue, and it looks like the intersection is blocked at this time. Do you want a heating and air company which uses third-party verification over their work? That's one of the highest rated on both Google and Yelp. Then call At Your Service Pros, 801 Your Pro. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny and warm today and tomorrow. We'll see clouds building up and a chance of rain by the weekend. Right now, 73 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Palmas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
We have breaking news out of Detroit, Michigan, where I think this is the first time in American history that I am seeing a president of the United States standing on a picket line. This one, of course, is for the United Auto Workers.
Today, the enemy isn't some foreign country miles away. It's right here in our own area. It's corporate greed.
That's clearly not President Biden, but I think that's one of the union leaders. Debbie, as Biden joins the auto workers on the picket line in Michigan. I'm with you. I've never seen this before from a president of the United States actually standing with a union in the middle of a strike. This is a powerful visual for the union.
You know, this is a historic moment. The first time in our country's history that a sitting USA president has came out and stood on the picket line. Our president chose to stand up with workers in our fight for economic and social justice. Thank you. It's a historic day and a historic moment in time. You know, just as today, you know, it's about the auto workers who are part of the fabric of the working class of this country. We're the people that make the world run. It's not the billionaire class, not the elite few. It's the working class of the billions of people who have been left behind. That's what this battle's about, changing that. You know what's going to move this? It's not some executive that owns our future. It's us. It's working class people from all walks of life.
That's Sean Fain. You know, he is the president of the United Auto Workers Union. A man who I've read has worked his way up from the assembly line to lead the union. And came in with a different view of how to work this strike. You're listening to live coverage. We have chosen to take CNN's coverage live right now. President Biden is standing on the picket line. They're not technically walking the picket line. It looks like he has his arm around one of the picketers there, one of the United Auto Workers who are there. Surprisingly, I think my assessment is this is not a very large crowd. I mean, and that could be for security reasons. We don't know. The optics make it look as though there's a lot of no-shows, but for security reasons, the Secret Service might have said, yes, you can go walk the picket line, be with picketers, but you just can't be flanked by thousands and thousands.
In part, I think the reason these aren't huge crowds is because the union has decided to selectively shut down. This isn't an all-out picket of all of GM, Ford, and Stellantis's car plants. They have just selectively around the country shut down this plant or walked out of this plant or that plant. So it's not like you have 100,000 people that are out of work right now that gather on the picket line.
And that was what, thank you for picking up on that, because that was what Sean Fain, when he took over as leader of the United Auto Workers, a man who I just said had, worked his way from the assembly line for many years up to this point where he's now leading the union. His strategy was unique in some ways, and that was not to have everybody walk off the job all at once, but to pick and choose the different plants that would, wake up one morning and the some of their workers would not show up. And I think it was last week we reported, you and I, Dave, we were talking about this, and it was like another 2,000 or 2,500 workers were going to walk off the job from another plant in a state other than Michigan. And the strategy behind this, it was like a slow choke of the big three. Slowly, like, for example, if the painters are off the job, then the people down the line and the rest of the assembly, they're going to stay on the job, but there's nothing to work on, right? There's nothing coming down. I don't know what I don't know how a car's made, so I don't know what comes after the paint. But whatever comes after the paint, whether it's the polish or not, those people have absolutely nothing to work on. And so it's like the squeezing and the choking, trying to like choke the air out of the assembly line and cause like a bottleneck. It hasn't worked yet. Not saying there isn't something behind the scenes going on that we don't know about, but we were just reporting earlier this morning in our 10 o'clock hour when we were talking to ABC News Live about the president's pending visit to Michigan to stand with those workers on the strike line. It's day 12. It's day 12. Maybe, Dave, if you can recall with your computer memory over there, with your software program embedded in your brain, what do these auto workers want?
Well, there's a few things. Number one is obviously a pay increase, but they want a huge pay increase. They want a 40 to 46% pay increase. Now, if you kind of chuckle out loud and laugh, think that's absurd. The reason they came up with that number is because the average cost of the three CEOs, their pay has gone up 40% over the last 3 years. That's how they came up with that 40% raise.
They just passed the bullhorn to President Biden. Let's listen. Oh, no.
The president there telling UAW workers, you deserve a hell of a lot more.
So apparently he used the HE double hockey sticks to let these union. Well, he went there. And in fact, we weren't even sure the president was going to go there. And what I mean by there is, was he going to go to Michigan? Because CNN was reporting as of this morning that there was still some behind the scenes debate at the White House as to whether this was going to be a good look for the president if he's picking sides by going and standing in solidarity with those on the picket line. And reporters who normally have an advanced schedule of where the president is going to be and when, so they can, they follow the president. This is their job, reporters and photographers for news organizations. They weren't quite sure on where, when, how, or if this was even going to happen. But obviously it has happened, and the White House made the decision. We don't know ultimately if it was the president's decision or if it was somebody else's decision to put him there on the line.
It will be very, very interesting to see what the response is from the big three. The big three automakers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, Stellantis is what they're called, what their response is going to be, because the optics are very, very clear that President Biden, in his words as well, he is standing with the strikers, with United Auto Workers, and their demands are incredible. Not only do they want that 40% wage increase, they want the end of wage tiers. So if you've been working for a long time at the company, they want to make sure that everybody is kind of in the same ballpark as far as the pay scale goes. So for right now, the top wage is somewhere around close to $40 an hour, and then the lowest starting wage is about $18 an hour. They want to close that tiered system.
Okay, wait a minute now. It looks like the Secret Service has just swooped up the president. I mean, maybe they're leaving. I don't know. I think we should time how long he actually walks the picket line. And if this is just a 5 or 10 minute stunt, I'll be unimpressed.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
This weekend, take a needed break, relax and refresh with the 193rd Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. KSL's coverage begins Saturday morning at 9:30 with live sessions all weekend. We have you covered at 102.7 FM or on the app for KSL News Radio.
As the weather turns colder, this is when you need to get those new windows. So call Advanced Window Products. They'll replace your single-pane, rickety old windows with stylish, state-of-the-art double-pane windows with precision frames. You pick the style and color. They're custom-made right here in Salt Lake City. This company is so Utah. It's run by two guys who grew up here, Jake Weber and Utes defensive star Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sacktown with 7 NFL seasons under his belt. Great guys, great company building high-quality windows for 37 years. Unlike other companies, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. No middleman. There's Jake, Nate, and their team, and there's you. Saving on the highest quality windows. Right now, before winter, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more, and they offer 60 months, 0% financing. So call Advanced Window Products now. You could have stylish new windows in 8 weeks. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100 or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toe fungus?
Living with toe fungus it's embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off. I hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody.
Introducing Crystal Flush. Crystal Flush is the only FDA-registered 2-in-1 home treatment that attacks your toe fungus from both the inside and out. Crystal Flush's new and different combination system knocks out toe fungus for good. Guaranteed.
Crystal Flush is different. After just a few weeks, my fungus was gone. I mean, 100% disappeared. Crystal Flush was the only thing that ever worked. So if you're skeptical because you tried a bunch of other stuff, Crystal Flush is different. This is a game changer.
Crystal Flush is now available without a prescription, but it is not available in stores. Get your risk-free supply today. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Stop being embarrassed by ugly yellow toenails. Go to crystalflush.com or call 800-204-4484.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. Over the years, I have seen a lot of down payment assistance programs. Most of them just aren't practical for one reason or another, but we have one now that is pretty solid. This program is for first-time home buyers or some buyers who have been out of the market for several years. It includes a gift of up to $4,000 to help with the down payment. Given that this program only calls for a 3% down payment in the first place, this gift can be a real game changer. Some restrictions apply. One restriction is that the household income cannot be over a certain amount, which for most areas along the Wasatch Front is around $85,000 annual income. Call us today if you want to take a look. Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a big increase in teacher pay helped Utah recruit new teachers even during the pandemic. Second, Heber City's police chief is retiring after 11 years in that job. Third, Amazon facing a lawsuit from 17 states and the federal government, accusing it of using its monopoly power against other retailers. Right now, 73 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, So you know that Taylor Swift has this superpower for swaying just about everybody in America. I've been glued for 2 days to videos of her at the Kansas City Chiefs game.
Stop it.
I wasn't even a Swiftie until our producer Caitlin entered our life, and now I'm like, what's going on with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? And we know that her tour this summer had incredible impacts on the economy because of all of the money that was brought into the cities where she was holding these amazing concerts that everybody was talking about. But now she's got a lot of sway apparently with young voters too. She told people last week or the week before, register to vote, like on, I don't know, Vote America Day. There's a Vote America Day or something like that. And there's this massive increase, Dave, in the number of people who raced to sign up to vote after she said go vote or to sign up to vote, to register.
Okay, I've got a couple things that I want to say here. I want to be on the record. Number one, Dave Noriega, not a Swiftie. I have a playlist. I absolutely have a Taylor Swift playlist. Okay, that's as far as I will go. I will not consider myself a Swiftie. There's some good songs. Okay. She's been apolitical for most of her career. She was kind of known for never touching political topics. That's changed over the last couple of years. She's decided, oh yeah, I want in. And she's become much more vocal about who she supports and what, the get out the vote.
Leah Murray, our second biggest Taylor Swift fan at Broadcast House, also host of KSL at Night, and runs the Walker Institute of Politics at Weber State University. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad to have you. We're so glad to have you here in house. You're hosting for Boyd this afternoon.
That is right.
Too.
I'm hosting for Boyd, and I'm going to just tell you, I would fight with Caitlin. I'll wrestle for that first top Swiftie position.
So she addresses this issue about registering her fans to vote on her Instagram page, and voter registrations in under 2 minutes at vote.org just jumped. They have like 38,000 registrations by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is this the power of Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So first of all, it's National Voter Registration Day. So I just want to tell you all that I put on my Instagram too. You should go
basically
register
the same.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just tell you what, I didn't result in 115% increase in the 18-year-old demographic to register to vote. So to be fair, it's not like do you know what I'm saying? So we all got kind of social media graphics. This is a day anyone who cares about voting,
can post it.
Right, every Tuesday we are doing these things. But yeah, so she says, look, and I like the way her message read, right? I've seen you guys at my shows. I've heard you raise your voices. I know how powerful they are. Make sure you use them in elections. So again, it's a political message, right, Dave? But it's not a vote for insert candidate here message, right? And it's an off year election because it's 2023, right? It's municipal elections everywhere. So I kind of, I think it's political, but it's not partisan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And she's sending people to a nonpartisan site to get themselves registered, and thank goodness all these kids showed up.
Just about like everything that Taylor Swift does, very strategic, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What is the power of a pop star like Taylor Swift on our younger generation to get them at least interested or registered, and then maybe they can move to the next step and vote?
Yeah. So I love this question, right? And I actually had a colleague yesterday say, I would rather have it be the president who is encouraging people to register to vote.
Sorry to your colleague.
Yeah, no, that's right. But the answer is there's a lot of distrust in our political institutions, right? So if any elected official is saying, I think you should register to vote, we instantly think it's calculated, or we're very cynical about that. To a certain extent, a voice like Taylor Swift, there's still trust there. Does that make sense, right? So she is an icon. She is a reference point. She is a cue giver on a lot of things, right? What is on your playlist? What football team I'm going to root for now? All of that stuff. And so she moves into this space Right, and it's going to have a lot of power if for no other reason than the elected officials or the other grown-ups in young people's lives are not trusted anymore.
Okay, so I see this happening, and we have had rock the vote campaigns for as long as I can remember. I remember looking back, John Denver and Cass Smith from the Mamas and the Papas doing the rock the vote version back in the 70s. So this is not anything new. We've had pop stars that have gone out and they're trying to get everyone excited. And then what happens? Sure, they may be registered for vote, but they're still not showing up on voter day.
Yeah.
You know, election day comes around, and are these 18-year-olds, are they taking the time to go out and research? And the numbers, you can see them, there's a number of people that are involved. But the vast majority, everyone thinks we're going to get the youth out this time. And unless medical marijuana is on the ballot, they're not showing up consistently.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think you're going to be right forever. Does that make sense? So I guess, oh my gosh, I have been to Rock the Vote concerts, right? I've been to those concerts. I've put on some of those concerts in the work that I do trying to get young people registered to vote. But John Denver's not like Taylor Swift, Dave.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a woman who $2 billion.
Thank you for saying the quiet part out loud. I'm a huge John Denver fan.
Right.
I wept when he was killed in that plane crash because I thought he's a beautiful songwriter.
Right.
But there's no artist
it's been
on the face of the planet, I would say not even Elvis, who is like the Taylor
You
Swift.
bite your tongue. Are you crazy? The Beatles?
I mean,
You're telling me
the woman
Taylor
is worth
Swift is bigger than the Beatles and Elvis Presley?
Yes.
I'm not sure the Beatles ever made this much money. I'm not sure they sold out this many stadiums. And I think she leans into the politics in the very, and you said strategic, and I hear you, but the very like Taylor Swift way of leaning into things, right? And then I just think these young people who will go to a concert, who will join Taylor Nation, do all of the work. And I love, what did you say? They're not going to do the research? Are you kidding me? They could solve the Easter egg clues, right, that she drops around her albums, right? They are going to figure out who's running and what policy positions they stand for.
But that's a hobby. There's a huge difference between a hobby and an obligation. And voting is much more of an obligation that we do versus
voting. Yeah, but voting is a habit. It can become a hobby. And if someone that I trust and respect who is outside, she's not running for office, right? She's no gain from this at all, right? She is spending her capital to get people to register to vote. You know what I mean? Like, I might believe that, trust that more, and then maybe I might do the work.
I also feel like the younger generation, late teens, 20-somethings, maybe even they're looking for a leader. They're looking. Who are they looking to right now?
Right.
I mean, if they're looking to Washington D.C., it's like you're just a blank stare. Nobody's looking back at you. You're not. But so they're looking for somebody to give them the courage to do more with this, to start the process, to register to vote. And I think, if not T Swift, then who?
Right, man, she might be the perfect natural experiment to disprove the conventional wisdom. Does that make sense? That says young people are just not going to show up. And if she drops an Instagram bomb like, do you know what I mean? Next year, right around Election Day, people might do it, is what I'm saying.
I've been in the world of pop culture and athletics for long enough that I've seen these can't miss stars. The Taylor Swifts of the world that have had incredible popularity. It is so fickle. It is an album away from your fans turning on you. Go ahead and ask Tiger Woods how things are going. You are one scandal away, which is my concern when I see these very popular, charismatic people until you put out a bad album or you do something a little too controversial. The Dixie Chicks was another great example. They were top of the country world. They became political, and then all of a sudden, they're on the outs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. And the conversations I've been seeing in my social media feed the last couple of days, right? Like Travis Kelce came out and said, you should get a COVID shot, right? So people are like, this is going to be a problem. But I'm not sure I buy it because I don't think young people, do you know what I'm saying, are going to ping in the negative way that you are just articulating. So I think the people who are negative are an older generation. I think younger people have got a different vibe about them. And again, I'm just going to say Taylor Swift is not Tiger Woods. Like a little bit, I think she might be the coolest thing that's ever happened.
She has turned herself into a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Really. And she's done that even when she transitioned from country music to pop music. And then now it seems to be kind of taking off that veil of like, I don't want to get involved in politics. Now more and more inching toward that. I'm excited to see what's in store for her. And if she is able to just garner excitement like she does at her concerts for voting, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, she is no John Denver, that is for sure, Dave. Sorry that your comparison just fell flat. Love the guy, miss the guy. But John Denver is no Taylor Swift. Thanks, Leah. We appreciate having you in.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd Benson.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. A woman from Wasatch County has been arrested on suspicion of murdering her month-old baby. KSL.com cites police documents saying she told police she had left the baby's body next to I-80 in Parley's Canyon. Those court documents don't say, though, whether remains have been found. The baby was born prematurely and needed supplemental oxygen to survive. Utah's lakes and reservoirs are about 77% of capacity as we approach the end of the water year. KSL's chief meteorologist, Kevin Eubank, says that's 27% higher than normal thanks to our wet winter and higher than average rainfall during the summer.
We are in a fantastic spot as we head into fall by saturating the ground in September and hopefully doing that again in October will really prepare things for a good runoff as we head into the winter.
And Kevin says long-range forecasts indicate we're in for a wetter fall than usual. The temperatures look like they'll be a little warmer than normal as well. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden joined striking auto workers on the picket line in Michigan today. On the way to Detroit, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says President Biden will be the first sitting president in modern history to visit striking workers.
You hear the president talk a lot about dignity, right? Making sure that American families, American households have the dignity, and this is part of it. Being able to sit around the kitchen table and be able to deliver for your family, be able to pay your bills.
Workers are urging the big three automakers to agree to a 40% pay raise, a return to pensions and other benefits, and a 4-day work week. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now on the day 325 points. The NASDAQ is down 166. We have just sunny, beautiful, clear weather for the next couple of days. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Fresh air, fresh RVs, fresh adventures. You'll find it all at General RV in Draper. Shop their huge selection of family-friendly trailers, spacious fifth wheels, and luxurious motorhomes. For over 60 years, General RV has helped other families make memories, and now it's your turn. So get started on that great adventure at General RV in Draper. Fulfilling your RV dreams and helping to create lifelong family memories through the RV lifestyle is what they do. Find out more at GeneralRV.com.
Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
As the beautiful golds, reds, and bright yellows appear on the trees, the air turns crisp and the fall takes hold. Your fun changes from shorts and flip-flops to hiking boots and flannel shirts, along with the endless trails to hike or ATV. When you visit Bear Lake, you visit so much more than the ordinary. From a wildlife refuge to scenic trails to the shores of the lake, everything takes on a whole new look. See it for yourself this fall, or plan your trip for the first winter snow, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, ice fishing, and logs on a fire as you warm your toes and sip warm cider in one of Bear Lake's cozy cabin getaways. To find out more about everything that's available to you and to book your stay, visit bearlake.org. Bear Lake, a little piece of paradise, just right outside your back door. See it for yourself. Visit Scenic Idaho.
There's things you need to know every day, and you will when you subscribe to KSL's daily 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter. Every weekday, we promise to deliver high quality and high value content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the top 3 things you need to know to stay informed about the world and community around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Salt Lake County freeway's in good shape, but up north we do have some heavy and slow traffic. This is eastbound to I-84 approaching and passing Mountain Green, plus an accident involving a motorcycle. This is just south of 114th South. At about 100 West. With over 30 plus specialties and multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny, warm today and tomorrow, and we'll see clouds building up with a chance of rain by the weekend. Right now, we're at 77 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
It's General Conference weekend, and as KSL News Radio always does, we're going to carry it live. Don't forget the Saturday morning session starts right here. You can listen to it from 10 a.m. until noon. And then at noon, we start some very special programming with Maui Strong, Seeking and Giving Solace Amid the Maui Wildfires. Church News reporter Mary Richards traveled to Maui after those crazy wildfires. Remember, she called the show. You called the show a few times, Mary. We really appreciated your coverage from there.
So, Mary, when this was happening, it was such a dynamic situation. This devastating wildfire sweeps through in Maui, displaces, kills, dozens and dozens of people. What was your experience like when you flew into this dynamic spot?
Yeah, it was interesting we land in Kahului, which is kind of the center of the island of Maui and everything. And everybody was thinking about and talking about the wildfires, but it wasn't there. Most of the island was fine.
Yeah.
It was Lahaina that was so, greatly impacted. And so drove over there the next day, that Thursday, about a week and 2 days after the fires. They'd finally just barely been contained. And people ask me, what was it like? What did it look like? What did it feel like? And and I'm a writer, and I couldn't find the words for this view, this gray, ashy, black and white view of what is normally a vibrant, beautiful, colorful town. It was awe-inspiring and to see all the workers too. I mean, I was so overcome by the emotions of the disaster that I almost had to immediately search for the good stories to kind of, okay, how are people helping? What are people doing? How are they supporting each other? Because it's so much grief, it was hard to process.
What did you find for the Utah connection to Maui? I know so many of us have been to Hawaii for vacation, but when you were there in the middle of this disaster, what did you find?
There was a beautiful storyline. We're reporters. We're always looking for storylines everywhere we go. On the plane ride over was a family traveling from Hawaii to return to Maui. There's a lot of that connection. There's a fair number of people who have connections to Utah who now live on Maui or have family in both places. And so this family was coming back, the Hughes family, it was roughly like 40 boxes and checked bags of goods and supplies and things to bring to the island that Utahns had contributed to and helped and purchased. And it was so beautiful to see that outpouring of love and hope and, how can I help and what do you need? And Delta helped them get it all on there for free. Here are all these checked bags, because we know this is going to help.
As you were explaining this, and we'd seen videos and pictures and aerial photographs, the devastation was so massive, but so specific to this area. How far out did this cover, and for the surrounding areas and towns and communities that weren't touched? How were they dealing with this?
There's a lot of back and forth driving to Lahaina. In fact, people saying, I remember the hotel clerk, because we were all the way over in Kihei, about 45 minutes away. She says, "Oh, you're going over to Lahaina today? Put something in your car. Go over there." And there was a lot of driving back and forth on the North Shore Road and then the other road that goes around. There were some fires up country, as they call it. There were a few fires that day in August, but the main devastation was centered around this town of Lahaina, which you have to drive for a bit to get to. And so the people who were displaced kind of ended up being spread out around Maui with long drives back and forth. I mean, their schools were closed, all those things. Some went off island, but it affected the whole island. But I will say, people ask me, what's next as they rebuild, and not all of Maui's closed. Lahaina's closed. Please don't go and gawk and stare. And they're just still working there today. Today they're going through toxic ash and cleaning and allowing finally some families back into their properties. But the rest of Maui is open for business, and they need it. They rely on that sort of thing for their economy.
Mary Richards, you probably recognize that voice if you've been a longtime listener of KSL News Radio. Mary was a longtime reporter here for KSL News Radio, who we miss dearly on a daily basis. She's now a reporter for the Church News. She has a very special broadcast from noon to 1 this Saturday, Maui Strong, Seeking and Giving Solace Amid the Maui Wildfires. You can listen to that documentary right here on KSL News Radio. We're going to air it right after the morning session of the General Conference, which starts Saturday and goes into Sunday. You can listen to General Conference live here as well, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and then, of course, on Sunday. Mary, what was the most poignant message you took away from your visit?
I think about that term from Scripture, beauty from the ashes. And there was a lot of that conversation the weekend I was there and continuing since. In fact, pretty soon here today, the BYU Hawaii devotional, it's on another island, BYU Hawaii, will be given by the stake president of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints on Maui, who was most affected. And he told us what he'll be talking about, that sort of theme of beauty from the ashes, of this grief process together, of coming together as a community and being allowed to grieve, and then also finding those ways to serve each other and look for that hope and healing.
What is the most pressing need for Maui right now?
I would say I don't think they need any more, big shipments of clothes or anything like that. It's always cash donations that can be used locally. There's so many trusted partners. I mean, your fundraiser was incredible here at KSL Radio, and all the trusted partners that the church works with, nonprofit organizations that have their own roles that work together. And for example, I went to the Maui Food Bank, and they said a cash donation helps them be able to buy immediately the food that can be given to families who need it. So there's many different things that are needed to rebuild, and those different organizations are helping with that. I will say many of the physical donations that are coming in are being kept in different places in storage for when they're able to use mattresses, for example. A whole shipment of mattresses arrived. Where are they supposed to put them? They have nowhere to build a house, but that's being held for them. But cash donations and helping the tourism economy, if that's something that people can do as well.
Mary Richards, thank you for joining us. And that is Saturday from noon to 1. Maui Strong, seeking and giving solace amid the Maui wildfires.
And that's just before we air our special report. Dave and I put it together with the help of our producer, special report called Dieting by Design, where we look at these new medications that are sometimes used for diabetes, like Ozempic, and then Mounjaro and Wegovy, and talk about weight loss as well, and the benefits, the pros, and also the cons of these types of drugs. And then that airs from 1 to 2. So you don't want to be anywhere else but right here on Saturday and Sunday, tuned into KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Tonight, it's a night to say hello and goodbye on NBC.
First, say hello to the newest coach on The Voice, Reba McEntire.
And hello to serious competition for Gwen Stefani, John Legend, and Niall Horan.
Then we say goodbye to another amazing season of AGT.
The epic America's Got Talent finale begins.
With $1 million prize on the line.
So watch live and vote.
The live AGT finale after The Voice.
Tonight on NBC.
Then on KSL 5 News at 10.
Tonight at 10, a 15-year-old debt back from the dead.
I thought it was taken care of.
Could cost a Utah woman her home.
They want $65,000 by the end of this month.
How did it stay underground for so long?
I know they've been called zombie mortgages.
KSL investigator Matt Gephardt digs up the details.
Is that legal? For the most part, yes.
With a warning about debt that won't die. Zombie Mortgage, Revive Debt. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Hey man, looking good. It's Stitch Fix. I'd like to thank my stylist for making me look so great. They always get my fit just right. They send clothes that work for me and my budget. They even found me my favorite pair of jeans. I'd like to thank Stitch Fix because let's get real, I couldn't make this style happen on my own. They just make everything so easy. So thank you, Stitch Fix. They just get me, and they'll get you too. Stitch Fix. Take your style quiz today at StitchFix.com.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Great Western Recreation's mission is to bring the social, public, and private sectors together to create play and fitness spaces that positively impact health and wellness, promote understanding, and strengthen the community. Partner Tyler Karyopoulos joins us with more.
Great Western Recreation has been specializing in complete park and playground solutions from design to construction for over 60 years. We offer customers a full range of commercial play equipment for children of all ages and abilities, and create recreational spaces that encourage multi-generational play. As a leader in the playground industry, we focus on providing the best evidence-based research design principles, innovative products, and a high-quality installation service. We currently serve 8 states in the western United States and are also Utah's exclusive representative for the leading manufacturer of commercial playground equipment, Game Time. In Utah, we have many projects in the works this year and look forward to seeing how else we can best partner with our communities to enhance Utahns' quality of life. Great Western Recreation is more prepared than ever to provide the highest level of customer service, high-quality products, and a complete turnkey solution for all your recreation projects. Let's work together and build amazing spaces where people love to play.
Parks, playgrounds, and green spaces are known to provide a wide variety of benefits to the health and well-being of a community and its economy. Learn how you can partner with Great Western Recreation at gwpark.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a woman from Wasatch County has been arrested and she's now facing murder charges. Court documents say she killed her month-old baby and left the body next to I-80. Second, we're at the end of the water year in Utah. Our reservoirs are in pretty good shape. Third, President Biden went to Michigan today to stand with striking auto workers. Right now, 77 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We've just been a revolving door this morning of live guests. It's been wonderful to have people in studio with us all morning long. We're speaking right now to Utah Tech University's president. Recently delivered a speech on the state of the university. And now joining us in studio to give us an update on what's going on with our. It's one of our newer university, right?
It's the 4-year.
It's the 4-year now.
What are you, about 10 years in?
10 years in.
10 years into being a 4-year. It was Dixie State, right?
Yes.
For a number of years. We can get you scoot up a little closer to the microphone.
Okay, so President Richard B. Williams, Biff.
Yes.
Your friends call you Biff.
Please.
Or I think we're friends at this
we're
point.
We're friends by now.
Give us an idea. Okay, one of the things I've always loved about Utah Tech is as we see the skyrocketing prices in tuition, that is something that you guys have taken very seriously at Utah Tech.
Right.
What have you done, and what? Because for people that live along the Wasatch Front, maybe you think Utah Tech is too far away. What do you say?
Well, 6 hours is not far away from Logan to St. George, and what we say is, really go out and look at what college is going to best fit you, what university, where do you feel comfortable. And a lot of our students that are coming to Utah Tech University, they are comfortable there. They're excited about there. And we focused a lot on tuition. In the state of Utah, we're fortunate that we have a state legislature that really values education. So every university is affordable. We are the most affordable. We've kept our tuition about $5,200 a year, which you go outside the state of Utah, you don't find that anywhere. And so they see the value, they see the affordability, and they can come be an engineer, a nurse, a teacher, an artist, and they feel that home welcome in St. George that we have.
I just heard a story this morning on Utah's Morning News about, I wanted to say the military or something, just issued in a report or a statement saying if we don't have more students going into the STEM fields, we're going to be in some real trouble. We just won't be able to compete with like nations like China. Right. So when I hear Utah Tech University, I think, maybe your university really highlights sciences and technology. What's the focus at Utah Tech that maybe students who chose another school in Utah they're not going to have it?
So our academic focus is really on the needs of our community, and that is STEM. That's healthcare. That's entrepreneurship. So when we became a university 10 years ago, we went out and asked the community, what are the fields? What's the economy going to drive here? And it was STEM. And our polytechnic focus, that's where that academic focus came. We do have 80% of those 204 programs that we've added since we began 10 years ago are in those STEM fields. And so we're focusing on what's driving the careers here. What are the jobs? Where do we need to send our students? And it's not just Utah Tech University. Every university in the state of Utah is focusing on meeting workforce needs.
You're up here this week. Silicon Slopes has a conference. As you see the tech community, obviously it seems like a natural fit with Utah Tech. What are you seeing from the Silicon Slopes conference and how it applies to your mission at Utah Tech?
Well, we're seeing the trends of what's happening with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and higher education has to keep on pace with that. And so going to the Silicon Slopes, we get to hear from those individuals that are building the technologies that need the workforce. They're telling us, I need a student that's trained in X, Y, and Z, and we are responding to that. And that's why these summits are so important, so that we're staying on the cutting edge of what is needed for the future.
President Richard B. Williams from Utah Tech University with us in studio, goes by Biff.
Yep.
Dave's decided we're friends, so
we're close enough.
We're close enough.
Yeah, we'll call you Biff. You can call me Deb. You can call him D for short. What's enrollment been like? I've been, we've been talking a lot about alternatives to the traditional college degree or college experience. So has Utah Tech seen an increase or decrease in enrollment?
Yeah, if you look at since we became a university, we've increased enrollment by 42%. We were just over 8,000. Now we're well over 12,500 students. And so our enrollment continues to climb. I think you're seeing that trend. You are seeing in the nation where people are seeking other alternatives. But really, if you look at the history of higher education, there's ebbs and flows, but the importance, if you look at this at the facts, higher education does help you. It does help you over a lifetime have better employment. It has you're a better citizen. There's just all these stats. I think right now a lot of people are saying, well, a university education is not affordable. If you look in the state of Utah, every single institution is affordable. We don't have that problem in Utah. And so the message we're trying to drive is higher education is affordable. It is attainable. It does have value for your entire career. If you look at it as the whole picture, yes, you could probably go get a job right today that you make $20 an hour, but over time, as we have recessions, as the economy ebbs and flows, what's going to be best to help you throughout that entire career?
One of the concerns I have about higher education, and again, the tuition experience here in Utah is different than it is across the rest of the country, but how long it takes on average for people to graduate. It's obviously, we say, get your 4-year degree. It's pretty rare to finish your degree in just 4 years. Nationally, the average is looking more like 5 or even 5.5, 6 years at times. What are you seeing, and how do you try to combat that? Because wallowing away for 6 years trying to grind out a degree can be very overwhelming, intimidating, and time-consuming.
Yeah. Well, nationally, I think the number one problem is affordability. And so we're on top of that in the state of Utah. But also, it's focus, making sure that you're advising the students. A lot of them are coming that have jobs. They get a little distracted. They stop in, they stop out. And it's not just because it takes so long because there's so many credit hours. It's because they are choosing to do other things. And so at a higher institution of learning, we have to keep them focused. Here's your pathway. Here's your plan. In the summer, instead of going home and being a lifeguard, how about you go home and you have a value-added internship that you get credit for? That speeds up that process. I know in the state of Utah, we're looking at 3-year degrees. We're looking at cutting that length down. It's top of mind because that is linked to affordability. But it's not just the number of credit hours. It is what is that individual doing in those 4 years. Most can get done in 4 years. Most choose not to. And life gets in the way. You have a child, you get married, you want to go on an international experience and stop out. You want to live a little. It's not just about the credit hours. It's about your entire life experience.
Great. Thank you so much for stopping by
on
your road
I
trip.
Appreciate it.
How long are you up in here in Salt Lake City?
For about 3 days. So,
3 days.
Yeah.
All right. How's the weather down in St. George?
It's beautiful, but it's beautiful here. It's a little cooler here, so it's nice.
Say it's pretty toasty. Well, you got through the hottest part.
We got through the hardest part.
It's not so bad. President Biff Williams from Utah Tech, thank you for joining us, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, about $5,000 a year, you said, for annual tuition costs.
Right, $5,200.
Yeah, $5,200. So you you start adding that up, multiply it over, hopefully 4 years. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's about $20,000. That's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
Yeah,
it's a great deal.
Good deal. Yeah, it's a better price than what I paid for up at the U for my daughter. No disrespect.
That's
to
why they're the
University of
lowest
Utah.
tuition of all
I mean, we love
the state institutions.
we love being Utes and everything, but is it the lowest?